Well, good morning, everybody. We will get started. We will get started in just a little bit. I decided to start us out early and let you enjoy some Christmas holiday music before we go into this battle between this Centennial 99K hand crank and a Centennial featherweight. That's right, a three-quarter size versus a half size featherweight, toe to toe, so off to so off. We'll see what happens. This is like the warm ups. This is like stretching, stretching. Oh, nice stitching. Nice stitching. There. We don't want that hand crank to totally embarrass you. All right, I'm going to pause it right there. And we're going to start to jump into this battle. But I've got some questions for all of you first. Some questions about these two machines. And I'll give you a closer look at the machines. The one right here, closest to the camera, the Centennial hand crank, is something that Susie decided she wanted to offer just in time for Christmas for someone that is looking to add a spectacular Centennial hand crank to their lineup of machines. If you've never owned a hand crank, they are amazing as far as what they're capable of doing. Not to mention, you don't have to deal with power issues. If you have a power outage, if you're traveling, if you're out in the woods, you can use a hand crank pretty much anywhere that you are. And they are surprisingly strong. So this one that you're looking at closest to the camera, consider it up for grabs. If you're looking for a hand crank, and you might be, as I show you these two machines, you'll look at the 99K, you'll look at the Featherweight, and you'll look at that tilt bed on the Featherweight and say, hold on a second, buddy. They're not equal. They're not the same. Well, I've got a surprise for you. This Centennial model that Susie acquired that originally came from the UK and was sold to a U.S. customer. That U.S. customer decided to downsize. They also couldn't quite figure out the hand crank. And so Susie acquired it. And this particular one comes with a very unique bonus that I think makes it incredibly rare and unusual. It adds a solid wood extension bed that increases your sewing space dramatically. If you look at a standard Featherweight versus this setup with the 99K hand crank, you look at those two side by side, this is going to give you about 6 inches more workspace, than the Featherweight sewing machine. So, and look at that Centennial badge. Anyone that knows anything about vintage sewing machines knows that badge marks are a big deal, not only from a standpoint of bragging rights, but also from a standpoint of value. So if you're interested in this hand crank, you'll want to reach out during the live stream, because usually the machines I present, like the one I did for Tom Olson, remember Tom Olson CL8? That ended up going out to New York, and it sold before I even sewed on it. There were all kinds of folks wanting that. And remember the hand crank that ended up going out to our good friend Mindy out in Las Vegas? That one sold as well before I even sewed on it. So if you're looking for a gorgeous hand crank, it's going to come with an original instruction manual. It's going to come with a box of goodies, lots and lots of attachments, lots of extra bobbins as well. You want to jump on this machine because it is absolutely spectacular. And I would say it is near museum quality. The patina and the quality of the decals and everything are just absolutely brag-worthy. Now, I don't want to steal everything away from the Featherweight, because the Featherweight is going to end up feeling, less than adequate for this battle of the machines. But this is also a Centennial Featherweight. This also belongs to Susie. It is not for sale, but she let me pull it out of her lineup of machines so we could do this battle test today between these two Singer Centennial machines. Now, if you want to help look up these machines, that's always appreciated. Before we jump into the actual battle, I'm going to give you some information on these two machines, and you can help us define the birth date for them. Let me get that lined up a little bit that way. There we go. Okay. So as far as this 99K, let's focus on that first. Oh, I didn't mention. I didn't mention the 99K also comes with a carrying case, and it's really, really cool on the inside. I'm going to probably drop this. Watch me drop it. All wood on the inside. And there's plenty of space in there for that really cool extension bed for the machine. It's a gorgeous case, and you don't see these cases built quite like this. But for the Centennial year, 1951, they decided to go all out. And not only did they build a spectacular carrying case, so you could take this to quilting retreats or quilting expos, or just take it to your neighbor that sews as well to make them absolutely despise you. But they also added this spectacular extension bed as well. I think we've all seen a fair number of 99Ks in our days, but when have you seen a 99K set up like this before? Really quite amazing. All wood, just built like a Rolls Royce, really. So help me look up this and get a birth date, would you? The serial number on this machine is going to be E like Edward, E like Echo. So E like Echo, G like George, 819379. EG 819379. I'll type it in the live chat as well. This is going to be the 99K. EG. Okay, I think I did that right. Hope I did that right. So that's going to be EG 379. Wait, I'm way off. Forget what I just said. EG 819. Yeah, 379. I was totally flipping numbers there for a second. Now the featherweight, if you want to help look up the featherweight, let me see if I can find the featherweight serial number. It's also going to start with the same letter prefix, E like Edward, G like George. Or if you want to do it military style, Echo Golf 819. Oh, no, that's the wrong way. Wait, stop. I do not have the serial number for Susie's featherweight. Oh, oops. But I do have the birth date, September 5th, 1955. Anyway, we'll focus on looking up the birth date for the 99K. Again, the 99K is E like Echo, G like Golf, 819379. If you want to help us out and look up the birth date so we know when this 99K, I'll call it a 99K long bed, kind of mimicking the featherweight a little bit, isn't it? It's kind of mimicking that featherweight at the other end of this temporary workbench. So we're going to be able to hopefully figure out those dates. Now, let me ask you another question. As far as information on the two machines we're looking at, which machine came out first? Did the 99K, the 99 series, the class 99 come out first? Or was it, in fact, the featherweight? Which one hit the scene first? The featherweight or the 99 class series machine? So if you know that, go ahead and type that into the live chat. And I'll give you all a little bit of time to do that. We'll put on a little bit more Christmas holiday music. And then we'll jump into this live stream. Okay? Oh, that's weird. Commercial came on. Commercial came on. Oh, I love and hate technology, don't you? Oh man, what a hoot. The echo factor. The echo factor. Hello, 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 hello. Oh my gosh. We love and hate technology, especially at the holidays, don't we? We get a new gadget and we're trying to figure the gadget out, and we're like, I don't know what this thing does. I don't know how it works. How am I supposed to figure it out? I'm not a gadget person. You hear that all the time, don't you? I'm not a gadget person. I don't know how this thing works. Well, it seems like even once we have our gadgets, we're still trying to figure them out, aren't we? Yeah, I am. I don't know about you. I'm always trying to figure gadgets out. All right, I'll get the Christmas music back eventually. Well, I hope everybody is having a good start to their weekend on Saturday. And I'm not sure about where you're at in this country or this world, but we continue to increase in our family size, don't we? And I didn't mention a really cool milestone. I look at people like Alex Askarov, I look at Andy Tube, and other men and women that have been in the restorative repair magical experience of the vintage sewing machine longer than I have been. And I've been doing it for about 23 years. And I'm always curious about the size of their followings and how many people have come to their YouTube channel to check out their stuff. And we have one of the largest followings right now of anyone in the world doing this sort of thing. If you go to the about part of the YouTube channel, when you go on the main page, you scroll across, you see playlists, you see about, all that sort of thing. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll see that we just reached a really, really fabulous milestone. And that is, we had over 3 million people. And these are unique visitors. This is not like robots and all the other stuff that people carry on with. Unique visitors that have come and watched videos on the Cow Country YouTube channel. Over 3 million in our unique niche space. I don't know. I think that's a big deal. I think that's really cool. And it far exceeds some of my friends that do the same sort of work. So maybe it's the fun part that we bring to it. Maybe it's our incredible leadership team that engages the audience in the live streams. Maybe it's the questions that we explore together and then we find answers for. Maybe it's the challenges that we put machines against each other, kind of like we're going to be doing today. I don't know. Maybe it's all those things together. Just what makes the Cow Country family that attracts over 3 million people to come and see what we're doing and to start watching our videos. So I'm really excited about that. I'm looking forward eventually to us hitting 4 million, and who knows where it'll go from there. And it's not just about numbers, but it talks about the impact that we're bringing to the vintage space. Whether you're brand new to the family, whether you've been with us from the very beginning, you're all contributing towards people saying, I want to check that out. I want to be a part of that. And so I'm really, really pleased with that milestone. And yeah, all right, a little bit of Christmas music, then we'll get into this. All right, I'm going to pause the Christmas holiday music again. And I was down here early this morning, and I was looking at this 99K, and I was thinking, where do I plug this thing in? Where do I plug this in? So if anyone has any input or opinions on where this gets plugged in on this hand crank, type it in the live chat. I need help. I need help. I was looking at this. I was looking underneath here. I was checking over there, and there's just nowhere to plug this foot controller and power cord into. It's kind of weird. Weird. All right. Well, regarding the questions that I asked, as we look at these two great machines, we look at this this fabulous 99K with this extension bed that just blows your mind away because it gives you about 6 inches more space than the Featherweight over here. It's kind of cool to see them side by side because it's just like, whoa, I've got some workspace now. But the first one on the scene, I asked you which one was first, the Featherweight or the 99K, the 99 class series. It was, in fact, the 99. And it came on the scene right around 1911. And because it was so popular, it stayed in production from 1911 until right around 1958. There are some sources that say 1960, but I believe that 1958 is correct. So you can do the math. This 3/4 size marvel of a mighty might machine, try saying that fast, marvel of a mighty might machine, came on the scene in 1911, and it came on the scene with the intent of offering people a smaller scale version of the Class 66. In most respects, the 99K is almost a compressed version of the 66. And other than it just doesn't take up as much space. It's also got the portability with a carrying case and being able to pack it up and put it in there that you can take it pretty much anywhere you want to go. And that's why when Susie said to me, I want to sell my Centennial hand crank, I said, are you sure? I said, in the 23 years that I've done this, the thousands, if not tens of thousands of machines that I've had across my workbench, I've never seen one with this setup before, with this really cool solid wood extension bed. And she says, no, I want to offer it to someone for sale, and it can be underneath their tree by Christmas time. I said, okay, cool. So again, if you joined us a little bit late, this machine, this setup with this really cool extension bed that can be taken on or off very, very easily. And also this great case over here as well. I showed you this case already, solid wood, beautiful. And yes, it has a lid. The lid is down here. But wonderful thing to be able to potentially take to quilting retreats and quilting expos. So again, if you're interested, just reach out to me during the live stream, and we can talk turkey about what Susie's looking to get for the machine, and then finalize everything and get this heading your way so you can have it under the tree before Christmas, before the holidays, okay? And again, including an original instruction manual, including a box of goodies with lots of bobbins and a ton of attachments, and also including the carrying case. Oh, and I didn't mention, because the machine that I personally have gone through, I'm also attaching a lifetime limited warranty. And I only say limited because I have to take into account neglect or abuse. You get mad at your cat and you throw your 99K at the cat and it lands on the hard floor and gets damaged. I'm not going to fix it for you for free. But if anything else goes wrong with this 99K during the time that you own it, I got your back. I'm going to cover you. Limited lifetime warranty on this machine, just like I did for Tom's machine, that CL8 that went out to New York, just like I did for that machine for another customer that ended up going out to Mindy. That also was a hand crank, but it was a 66. I offered a limited lifetime warranty on that as well. That's a big deal. You're not going to find that offer anywhere else that I know of, not on Etsy, not on Pinterest, not on YouTube, not in anywhere where a person that has restored that machine is willing to stand by it to that degree. So anyway, enough of that. So this did come on the scene first in 1911, was produced until around 1958. Most of you know that the featherweight came on the scene over 2 decades later. 2 decades later, in 1933, 34, when it was presented at the Chicago World's Fair in Chicago. Ha ha! Yeah, that's the way it works. Chicago World's Fair, Chicago. 1933 to 1934 is when that Chicago's fair was, and they had the theme of a century of progress. A century of progress. This machine over here, the 99K, came on the scene because people wanted a smaller scale version of their beloved 66. This one came on the scene because they liked the smaller scale. In fact, they wanted it even smaller. And so they went from a 3/4 size machine to a half size machine. And then they focused on changing the composition of it from cast metal to cast aluminum. And so then they dropped the weight by about 20 pounds so that this fully dressed out only weighs in at about 11 pounds. This hand crank is going to be heavier than that. But you know what? You've got a hand crank. You expect that. Plus, you've got the wooden base as well, the wooden extension bed. So both of them are going to have, in my opinion, equal portability. But, if you got a bad back, get a featherweight first, go to the gym, and then you can move up to a 99K. Yeah. But we're going to pit these two against each other today. It's going to be the muscle of this fully optimized. I've gone through Susie's featherweight as well, from bobbin to balance wheel. And it is a beast for a little petite powerhouse like a featherweight. We're going to be sewing leather with her today. We're going to be going through a variety of different sew-offs to show that even a featherweight can flex its muscles. But we're going to be pitting that 0.4 amp motor against my muscles, turning this hand crank. So back and forth and back and forth, and we'll see what you think. We'll see if it's a tie in the end, or we'll see if you feel like this machine prevailed or this machine prevailed. They both belong to Susie, so it really doesn't matter. But I'm guessing if you end up buying this 99K, you'll probably give it a vote of confidence and say that the 99K prevailed. I've done some crazy things with hand cranks as far as demonstrating what they're capable of doing from a heavy-duty sew-off. And for the sew-offs, I'm going to take this extension bed off just so I can get a little bit closer to this beautiful hand crank machine. So why don't we start with a hand crank and then we'll move down to the featherweight. We'll kind of go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. All right. And if you're in, I see that we've got a pretty big audience right now. If you're in the shadows right now and you're not comfortable stepping out to the live chat to introduce yourself, that's okay. But we just want you to know that we truly are happy that you're here. We want to make you feel welcome. We want you to feel as if you can get involved when you're ready. And this is going to be an environment where you can learn And you can also share your own knowledge as well, because we all have our bank of knowledge. And when we combine those banks of knowledge together, what I can share with you, what you can share with me and the rest of the audience, it makes it just a learning mecca as far as being able to get information out there, and then being able to go into our own circles and make people smarter on vintage sewing machines. I think that's what it's all about, is sharing knowledge and inspiring other people to fall in love with vintage sewing machines like we have. Right? Yeah. Okay, let me raise this up a little bit. Back the camera up a little bit too, so you can enjoy watching me crank this puppy off. Let's see if I can get that right angle there. Yeah, that's not too bad. What do you think of that faceplate? A very, very special faceplate for the Centennial year. Again, this is a Centennial 99K, just like the Featherweight is down on the other end. And they usually, with a big celebration like that, they do little things to make that machine even more spectacular. So talk about eye candy, right? Eye candy. All right. So let's do a crank off on this, and you can listen to this machine do its thing. The first sew off we'll do is going to be 2 layers of 100% cotton with quilt batting. 100% cotton, 2 layers with a single layer of quilt batting. Yeah, we'll warm her up a little bit, kind of like doing stretches before a jog or a run, right? The other thing I'll tell you real quick before I do the first sew off is, when you look at a Featherweight and you look at a 99K, they're almost polar opposites. They're polar opposites in a number of ways. They're polar opposites because they have entirely different hook systems. The hook system in this 99K is going to be an oscillating hook system, which means that hook is going to move like a pendulum back and forth. The beauty of having a hook system like that is it's able to handle much heavier threads and manage specialty threads much more effectively than a rotary hook system like the Featherweight. And it's because that hook doesn't have to go in a full rotation. It simply rocks back and forth in the sewing process. So if you're looking to get a hand crank like this with that really cool extension bed that gives you a workspace about 6 inches larger than a Featherweight, and you've got that off the grid capability with a hand crank as well, you're also on top of that going to be able to push this machine if you want to do leather sewing or other specialty type sewing and run some heavier threads through this 99K that would choke that Featherweight. It would either choke the Featherweight, or I was experimenting late last night, it will cause that Featherweight to skip stitches left and right, because that hook system going full rotation is not able to manage that thread as effectively and as easily as this 99K. So, I'm just telling you the facts. The other thing is, when you're setting this machine up to sew, you've got to put the needles in opposite on these two machines. On the 99K, the flat side is going to go to the right towards the pillar, and you're going to be threading this machine from left to right. On the Featherweight, down on the other end, you're going to be putting that needle in with the flat side to the left, and you're going to be ultimately threading that Featherweight from right to left. So if you own these two machines and you have them on the workbench like I do at the same time, you got to keep your wits about you. You got to keep your head straight so that you don't goof up, because the needle sockets on both of these will allow you to slide the needle in with the flat side left or right, unlike some of the slantomatics, or like the 301A, the big sister to the Featherweight, has that single-sided needle socket where on a 301, 301A, you can only put the needle in one way. Not the case with the 99K and the Featherweight. You can goof it up, and it's easy to do if you're working with these two machines, like many people will be. So just keep that in mind. 99K, flat side to the right, threading from left to right. Featherweight, flat side to the left, and you're threading from right to left. Okay. So absolutely polar opposites when it comes to these machines and their setup. Okay. All right. So let's crank this off. Enough blah, blah, blah. Going to check my presser foot pressure real quick, and then we'll buzz down. And I don't know why I cut such a big piece, but I did. So, and the other thing I will tell you about an oscillating hook system, just as a little tip, an oscillating hook system, because it's completing the sewing process with a pendulum type movement instead of a rotary movement, it has to pull that thread a little bit more aggressively. So when you first launch with a 99K or any machine that has that oscillating hook system, you'll want to hold onto the thread for just a microsecond as you're launching. And that way that thread doesn't get sucked in and you get that little goopy thing on the end where that stitching is started, where it kind of sews over its own thread. So all I do is I kind of rest my hand right here on the bed, and then I let her go. Yes, I'm turning it. It's so quiet. It's so quiet. You could literally be, and I've had customers say this that have purchased hand cranks from me. They said, I had another hand crank and it was so clunky and so loud. I wanted to sew in the living room with my spouse while they were watching TV, and they always would give me the stink eye about how loud the sewing machine was. And then I got your hand crank and I could sew almost right next to my husband or my wife, and they didn't mind because it was whisper quiet. That's just like Susie's 99K Centennial model that's being offered for sale today. You can sew on this thing and you can hardly even hear it running. It's just whisper quiet. Yeah, really is. All right. Oh, beautiful stitching. Beautiful stitching. We'll do one more stitch row. I'll kind of show you how to reduce the stitch length on this one. It's got that thumb screw stitch length regulator. And then we'll move over to the featherweight and we'll duplicate the same thing. Yeah. Kind of fun to have these little friendly battles, isn't it? It's not like a bloody battle sort of thing. We're just having a little bit of fun, pitting one vintage machine against another. So I'm going to get that back underneath the presser foot. The other thing I'll show you real quick, and I didn't do it already, is the clearance underneath this presser foot. If you can see that, you could fit probably 4 quarters. If you were to reach into your pocket and pull out 4 quarters, you could probably fit almost 4 quarters underneath that presser foot. A lot of clearance, just like its big brother, in a sense, the original Class 66 that this machine was modeled after. Incredible presser foot clearance on this machine. And that's a big deal when you get into some of the heavier sew-offs, that you don't have to struggle to get it underneath there. Okay, let me get that back into position again. And I want to just show you real quick. It's really simple. This is our thumb screw for stitch length. When we have it screwed all the way in as far as it'll go clockwise, we're going to get the longest stitch possible, right around 6 to 7 stitches per inch. As we start to go counterclockwise, that stitch will become shorter and shorter and shorter until we can get down to a point of around 30 stitches per inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it 3 turns, and then we're going to do a stitch off. I'm going to give it 3 more turns, and then we're going to do another stitch off. So you can see that stitch reduction in length. Okay? All right. There we go. Our camera is so happy today. It's so happy. Maybe it's the Christmas holiday music that's doing it. So I'm going to give this like 3 turns. 1, 2, 3. Now we're going to sew off again on this cotton, and then we'll do more time, and then we'll look at all of these stitches, okay? All right, here we go. Whisper quiet. Whisper quiet. And I don't mean to share this to criticize, but more to compare. I mentioned that this machine had originally come from the UK. A US customer bought this amazing 99K with that really super cool extension bed and the the gorgeous carrying case and everything. And when the customer got it in the US from the UK, and I don't know if this one came from Alex Askaroff's workshop or not. I don't believe it did, but we don't know for sure. I asked Susie and she wasn't sure. But whoever sold it to this US customer through eBay said it was fully serviced. When I went through this 99K and also serviced the hand crank as well, if you didn't know it and you have a hand crank, the hand crank has about 13 different service points on it that you have to do once a year to maintain that hand crank properly. And the machine itself has about 130 service points. So if you do the combination of the two between the hand crank and the machine itself, you have almost 150 service points that I've done on this machine. And that's why I'm giving it a limited lifetime warranty. I've gone through it from bobbin to balance wheel, and it is ready to get the job done. But the other thing that customer told Susie when she was looking to purchase this machine from that US customer that got it from the UK is it had a tension issue. And it would sew for a while, and then there would be a bird nesting on the bottom. Sew for a while, it was perfect, and then it would bird nest on the bottom. What I found when I took apart this upper tension is I found, number one, the check take-up spring was bent. Number two, the pressure plate that the spring mounts on was backwards. It was literally backwards. And so at Cow Country, as I share things with you, as we learn together, we start to learn the principles of excellence. What does a complete service really look like? What does a complete service do for the machine versus a sew and vac, top shelf, quick, get it done type thing? It makes all the difference in the world. And it means that every time you sit down to that machine, you can anticipate enjoying it, having fun with it. Even that, you might remember that Kenmore that was made in Japan that I serviced in the old workshop for Susie when she came to pay a special visit. She had all kinds of concerns about that machine. It actually given up on it. And after we went through and did that service, and it wasn't even as in-depth as I typically do it. It was kind of a live stream, in-depth, condensed version, kind of an abridged version. She said even she can go upstairs now where that room gets cool, and it used to just slug. And now it just purrs like a kitten from the very, very, very first launch. So all I'm trying to say is when you get a machine from the workshop, whether it's the old workshop or this temporary workshop, or in the future, the new workshop, you can expect a machine that every time you sit down, like with this 99K, it's going to be a joy. It's not going to be, is it going to be happy today? Is it not going to be happy today? So we're going to do our next stitch line now. We'll give that stitch length regulator screw 3 more turns. And I almost had that upside down. Talking too much, Scott, talking too much. So 3 more turns, 1, 2, 3. And again, I'm turning it counterclockwise to make the stitches shorter. If you want the stitches long and you have this type of screw, thumb screw type stitch length regulator, then you want to turn it all the way clockwise, all the way in as far as it'll go to the body of the machine, and then you'll get those nice long stitches. But we're going to go for shorter right now, okay? All right, so let's sew this next on, and then we'll look at these stitches. All right, here we go. Yes, I'm sewing right now. It's just that quiet. It's that quiet. Oh, wow. Very, very nice. Sometimes when you shorten that stitch, you can lose a little bit of that stitch definition. This 99K is no longer having upper tension issues. Top and bottom looks just tip top. All right, let's take a look at these now finally. So we did 3 stitch rows, and I'm going to remember to turn this in before I forget, because some of the other sew-offs I want to do are going to be longer stitches. So it's screwed all the way in clockwise now. Now we're going to get those nice long stitches again. All right, let's take a look at these, and hopefully they show up okay on this brown material. I've grown really accustomed to the green material. There we go. So our first stitch row is going to be around 6 to 7 stitches per inch. Our middle row is going to be right around probably 12 to 15 stitches per inch. And then the bottom one is going to be even smaller than that. So let me get this lined up, and then I'll stop gabbing and I'll try to keep it straight for you. There we go. Folks, those are gorgeous stitches. They just are. I've got this set on a zoom feature right now, so I better back it up a little bit. There we go. Absolutely page 34 plus stitching. Absolutely page 34 plus stitching. We'll look at it like this as well. This is our top stitching again. Gorgeous, gorgeous stitching. I might, if I were going to be sewing 2 layers of cotton with a layer of quilt batting all day long, I might just reduce that upper tension slightly to give even more definition to that top stitch. There's our stitch rows right there. Absolutely gorgeous. Let me flip it over and look at that lock stitch now. We'll get in nice and close so we can look at that lock stitch. And again, we're sewing 2 layers of cotton with a layer of quilt batting. See if we can straighten that out a little bit. Absolutely spot on stitching. Every single row has that stitch definition and stitch clarity that you would expect to see on a machine of this caliber, on a Centennial batch marked machine like this. Let me turn it like this also. We'll look at that stitching like that. Gorgeous, gorgeous stitching. Page 34 plus for sure. So here's our lock stitching again. Hold that real still. Our top stitching. So our first sew off is 2 layers of cotton with quilt batting. Absolutely spot on. Let's see how the featherweight does now. And while we're doing this, I'll put on a little bit of music. It's kind of like Christmas Carol challenge music. Maybe. Not really. Here we go. Turn it down a little bit. All right, let's head down to that featherweight and see how it does on a layer of quilt batting and 2 layers of cotton. Shut that light off. Oh, that light is off. Let's see. Put that right there. There's that glare. It was coming from that other light. Perfect. Okay. So let me grab the identical sew off. Here it is. And we'll give this a try. And let me know if playing that music makes it difficult to hear me. I'm hoping you'll be able to hear me okay. All right, let's reduce that stitch length, just like we did on the 99K. On the featherweight, we're going to be adjusting it here. I think I went smaller on this. All right, we're going to go a little bit smaller, but I kind of went overboard on this one. I made it smaller before I made it the other one smaller. All right, we'll try it again. And reduce that just a little bit more. There we go. All right. I went really small on that. Oh my gosh. All right, let me pause the music again real quick. And we'll take a look at these stitches on the featherweight. Again, we're doing a back-to-back sew-off, kind of a battle between this 99K hand crank Centennial model and this featherweight 221 Centennial model. And both machines have been through some workshop magic. So they should be able to run head-to-head, even though we're dealing with very different hook systems on these two machines. They really are night and day, aren't they? All right, I'm going to try to look across to the laptop and hope that the camera is going to focus. Let me turn this light on again, maybe. There we go. Got to go right about there because otherwise I'm getting a shadow over on this side. So our first row, we're right around 6 to 7 stitches per inch like we did on the 99K. The middle row, I went a little bit shorter than I anticipated. And we're looking at a stitch length that's going to be probably almost 15 stitches per inch. And then I finally reduced it down even shorter, probably close to 20 to 25 stitches per inch. Hold on a second. I have a question. Have a question. Let me see what it is. Oh, wonderful. Welcome to Antonio. Antonio from Brazil. Great to have you from Brazil. And if it's more comfortable for you to translate in Portuguese, which I believe is the main language of Brazil. Otherwise, if you're very comfortable and want to communicate with us in English, that's fine as well. We had a wonderful gal that would visit us quite often. And she was more comfortable if one of the leadership team members would translate in Portuguese. So just let us know. We want you to feel welcome. We're delighted you're here. And hope you enjoy and learn some new stuff today. Hope you learn some new stuff today in this live stream. Okay. Back to the stitching. Let me see. This is our top stitching. See if I can get this angled up just a little bit, maybe. There we go. So we've got some beautiful stitching. Like I was saying, when the notification came in from Susie, I went a little bit more aggressive on reducing the stitch length on the featherweight. And so you'll see that our final row on the bottom, see if I can get more near this light over here. There we go. Our final row on the bottom is going to be much smaller than we did on the 99K, but we could certainly do that. Could certainly make it smaller if we wanted to. All right, let me try going like this, see if the light picks it up a little bit better. There we go. We've got some gorgeous stitching by both machines. And again, I recognize this is not a huge challenge, but at the same time, it is. When you incorporate quilt batting, when you incorporate quilt batting, it creates a density in that sew off that you don't get from standard material. The whole idea of quilt batting is it's puffy, right? And it can create a lot of havoc on maintaining stitch quality. But neither of the machines had any difficulty whatsoever with executing. I'm just going to turn my light up a little bit. Both of the machines had no trouble at all delivering some top-notch stitching. Move that over this way a little bit. There we go. My favorite color cotton, this is 100% cotton, this brown stuff. My favorite color cotton to sew on is green because the camera likes it. Camera's not sure about this brown stuff. It's not sure about focusing on it, but seems to do okay when we go vertical like this, and you can see it clearly. So I'm going to give a passing grade to both machines on sewing 2 layers of cotton with a quilt batting. And now we're going to go to the next challenge sew off, and see which of these machines gives up first. We'll see if which one gives up. And again, if you're joining us a little bit late, this 99K, which also has a really, really cool extension bed that you can put on so it mimics the Featherweight and actually gives you 6 inches more sewing space. If you're interested in this Centennial 99K, it is being offered for sale. And depending on where you are in the country and the world, you could receive this machine and put it under your tree before Christmas. So keep that in mind. All right, back over here. Get this set up like this. There we go. Now you can see me cranking the material as well. All right, so we were doing cotton. Let me ask the audience for some input. On this next sew off, where the 99K will do it first, and then right after we'll do it on the Featherweight. We can either do denim. We can do vegetable tan leather. We can do parchment paper, which the last couple of times I've done this, I believe I did 12 layers of parchment paper, and it's like sewing through a patio block. If you've ever tried sewing multiple layers of a paper on one of your sewing machines, you'll know exactly what I mean. It really, really is tough to get through, but it really is a true test of how well that machine is sewing. Or we can do 8 layers of this 100% cotton. So should we do more cotton? Should we do parchment paper? Should we do leather? Or should we do heavy grade denim? So you let me know. I'll wait for you to type something in the live chat. And I see right now that Susie is saying denim, but if anyone else wants to chime in and voice an interest in seeing something else, go ahead and do that. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Don't be afraid. Don't be shy. Okay, I don't see anyone else jumping in. Let's do denim. And what I'll do is I'll do 2 layers of this. I'll kind of along this edge right here, and then I'm going to do my best to fold it in. So we'll end up on our second sew off doing 6 layers of denim. And I could go higher than that, I used to say this in the live streams all the time in the videos, but I haven't said it in a long time, so I need to say it. When I demonstrate a machine in a live stream like this, whether it's the 99K or the featherweight, I'm not showing, I am not showing the maximum capability of that machine. In other words, I could go higher than 6 layers, but I've elected to do 6 layers between these two machines. Maybe the next time I do a live stream on a similar machine, maybe I'll do 8 layers. Maybe I'll do 10 layers of denim. As long as I can fit it underneath the presser foot, I always try to push the machines hard, but you're still not seeing the max. Once that owner gets that machine, they can then try pushing that envelope even higher. Okay, so I want to emphasize that we're going to be doing some sew-offs that I think that will highlight the beauty of the stitches, the ease of operation of the machine, but it's not the max. We're not hitting the ceiling. We're not even close to the ceiling on either one of these machines. All right, so let's do this first. We'll do 2 layers, and then I'll try to fold this over, and we'll bump it all the way up to 6 layers on this 100% heavy-duty denim. All right, let me adjust that up a little bit so you can watch me crank. And I've got the microphone literally right behind the hand crank. You can see it right there. So I'm hoping with the microphone that close that you'll be able to hear how whisper quiet this hand crank is. Absolutely whisper quiet. And I'm going to give you one more opportunity to scoop up Susie's hand crank with that amazing extension bed that give it the look of a featherweight. If things are tight around the holidays, as they are for most people, if things are tight around the holidays and you're saying, I would love to scoop up that 99K hand crank, plus it's got a Centennial badge, plus it has that special Centennial package with the special carrying case and that very, very rare extension bed that attaches to the base of the machine to give you 6 inches more workspace than the featherweight. If you're saying I would scoop it up, but money is tight, then reach out anyway, and we'll work out the equivalent of a layaway plan that will give you up to 120 days to pay off the balance before the machine is shipped to you. How is that for an offer? Plus, it comes with a lifetime limited warranty as well. But I know money can be tight around the holidays. So if you'd love to add this 99K Centennial model with the special Centennial package, the special Centennial extension bed that mimics the featherweight, then reach out and I'll work out a layaway plan so it doesn't stretch your budget too far at this time of the year. And then once the balance is paid off in full, you might pay it off sooner than 120 days. But if you don't, you'll have up to 120 days, kind of like a layaway thing, like Walmart and Sears and JCPenney and all the retailers used to do layaways all the time. So I'm offering you a layaway on top of all the other perks of getting your mitts on Susie's very rare Centennial 99K model. All right, that's enough blah, blah, blah. I almost felt like saying, call now because operators are waiting, but they're not. I'm busy over here. Don't bother me. Don't bother me. All right, so let's do 2 layers of denim, and then I'll move on to 6 layers after that. And again, if you were not here at the beginning, with oscillating hook systems, because they pull that thread a little more aggressively, because they don't have the luxury of a full rotation, they oscillate like a pendulum. So they have to pull more thread more quickly. Just give a little hold to those threads when you first launch, and you'll get a nice, clean lock stitch row on the bottom. All right, here we go. I let that material slip a little bit on the end, but that's okay. That's okay. You'll still be able to see the beauty of the stitch. All right, give that a... Now we'll do 6 layers after this, but we'll look at the stitches first, obviously. Okay, let's take a look at these stitches, and then we will Move on to 6 layers. I was trying to determine which side was which. Yeah, it's going to be like this. This should be our top stitch. All right, let's look at the top stitch first. There we go. Now it's coming into view. Folks, that is a gorgeous, gorgeous top stitch. The only thing I would change is I would probably bump up that presser foot pressure just a little bit higher. So I would get even a little bit more length out of those stitches. Again, if you don't have enough presser foot pressure, that stitch is going to be a little bit stubbier. And it might only be like a quarter of a millimeter shorter, but I notice it because I've done so much stitching and worked with so many machines. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous page 34 plus stitch, but we're always looking to improve things. It's part of our Kanai principle. And if you've never heard of Kanai before, C-A-N-I, C-A-N-I, it stands for constant and never-ending improvement, which means whenever I sit down to a sewing machine, even if I've gone through the process, I'm still looking at ways that I can improve that machine even further and improve my processes further. But that's an absolutely gorgeous stitch by this 99K. Absolutely gorgeous. Two layers of heavy grade denim. We'll look at it like this as well. Turn it over, look at that lock stitch. I'll do this so you can see it a little bit easier. It's our lock stitching on the back. Beautiful lock stitching as well. And again, 2 layers of denim. It's not a huge challenge, but I know some contemporary machines you pick up at the retailers, the plastic machines, you know what I'm talking about. I know some plastic machines that would struggle sewing 2 layers of denim like this. And now we're going to triple the thickness and go all the way up to 6 layers of denim. All right, let me get that there. First thing I'm going to do, though, is bump up my presser foot pressure just a little bit. Give it about 2.5 turns. All right, now let's see if I can do this folding thing. So that's 2 layers. That's 4 layers. And that's 6 layers. So 6 layers of denim looks like that. I'm actually pushing it down so it doesn't puff up. 6 layers of heavy grade denim. This is not the lightweight, flimsy stuff. This is the stuff that you wear when you're working on the farm or on the ranch and you want it to last a good long time. 6 layers, 6 layers. Let's go ahead and go down this now and see how this 99K handles this. The other thing I'm going to show you is look at that. I talked about the presser foot clearance on the 99Ks being like the class 66 models. It's huge. It's huge as far as what you can fit underneath the presser foot on a 99K. We've got extra room and we've got 6 layers of denim. 6 layers of denim. Look at that. Crazy. All right, let's go down the middle of this, lower that presser foot, and we'll give this a crank off and see how this 99K does on this sew off. Here we go. I should probably get my little clips out or something like that to hold the material together. I'm doing pretty well, but I am letting it slip a little bit on some of these sew offs. But we're still going through those layers. We're still doing those layers. So we just did 6 layers of heavy grade denim, what I would consider to be a heavy sew off. Now let's take a look at the stitching and see what we think. All right, this is going to be our top stitching. See if I can get that up to the camera. There we go. I'm going to pause right there and just say, wow. Wow. 6 layers. And this hand crank went through it like a hot knife through butter. It wasn't even a challenge. I wish you could have come into the workshop and turned the hand crank yourself. It turned just with absolute ease. But again, remember, that's because I serviced the hand crank as well. But those are absolutely gorgeous stitches. Look at those stitches. Wow. Imagine if you're making a denim product, maybe a purse or a bag or something like that, and you get stitching like that as a top stitch. Absolutely off the charts. Absolutely off the charts. Wow. Gorgeous, gorgeous top stitching. We'll look at it like this as well. Kind of go vertical with it. And they have denim needles, right? I'm using a universal needle, and we're still getting gorgeous, gorgeous stitch quality. But if we use a denim needle for this denim, we're going to get even a better stitch quality than we already do. But that's absolutely gorgeous. And look at, again, what we went through. Six layers of denim is no joke, folks. It's no joke. Okay, now I got to get my direction. Which way was I? That way. So that's our top stitch. This is our lock stitch now. Here's our lock stitch. Come on, camera. You've been doing really well. You've been doing really well, camera. Absolutely gorgeous. Wow. Not sure what to do. Hold on a second. Turn the camera a little bit like this. See if that focuses in. There we go. So 6 layers of denim on 99K. Let's go over to the featherweight now and try the same sew off and see what we think as far as which machine got the job done even better. Or maybe they did an equal job. Maybe they did an equal job, right? So let's go away from this Centennial 99K. And now we're heading over by our featherweight, which again, if you didn't know it, featherweight is considered a half size machine. The 99K is considered a 3/4 size machine, just like the Canadian equivalents of the 185K, the 185J, and then also the 192K, which is also known as the Spartan, are all 3/4 size machines. The featherweight's going to be even smaller in scale than those machines, but it still has the advantage of a motor. Right now, I'm the motor for the 99K. All right, let's check out this featherweight now. All right, let me get the denim out. We'll start with just 2 layers. And we'll sew it the same way on this one. We'll sew it on this edge. Two layers of denim, and then we'll move it all the way up to 6 layers. All right, here we go. Get that take-up arm all the way up. I've got one of those little button foot controllers that would typically come with the Featherweight. So I've got to get my big size 13 shoes on that little button. All right, here we go. Let's give it a go. 2 layers of heavy grade denim. Oops. You know what I did? I started with the stitch length reduced. So let me change in midstream. Let me bring the needle up. So we're going to see short stitches for about 1 inch. Now I'm going to lengthen it just like I did on the 99K so it's equal. And now we'll do the same stitch off with longer stitch length. Okay, let's check out these stitches. You'll have a chance to see the shorter stitch, probably around 12 to 15 stitches per inch, and then you'll see that longer stitch kind of come into form as I change that stitch length. All right, let's take a look at this one. So this is going to be on the Featherweight. Just going to double check here. Yes, that's the top stitch. Yeah, I get confused sometimes on top versus lock stitch. We'll see here. Okay, let's look at that top stitching first. See how short that stitch is we started with, and I caught my mistake, and then I adjusted it up. Camera's having a little trouble focusing right now. I think it's the lighting. Let me see if I can get this angled up a little bit and get a little bit more light on there. See if that helps. Let's try it like this. I actually sewed off the material there. You can see that. I was not sewing very straight. I was trying to stay real close to that edge, but I stayed too close to that edge. Let's try this again. See if I can do this. I'll put this green manual behind it. Maybe that'll help. Put our Singer manual behind it, and then all of a sudden the camera says, oh, I can see it now. Sort of. Maybe. Camera does not like this part of the country over here. Let's see if we try that again. At last, it was out for a coffee break. The camera was out for a coffee break, and it's like, okay, I'm back now. I'm back now. So some really good looking stitches on the part of this Featherweight. All in all, I think it's quite nice. Some of these areas we'd almost have to kind of pull back a little bit to see that stitch. The stitch is kind of buried in there a little bit. Even those teeny tiny little stitches look really good. Probably about 10 to 12 stitches per inch is where we started, and then I adjusted it all the way up, all the way up. All right, let's turn around and look at that lock stitch. Look at that lock stitch now. You can see how far I sewed off the material there. I like totally missed it. We'll get over here where I was on course. Look at that tiny little stitch. You have to really pull that back to see it. So I think the featherweight did a decent job. I'm almost a little bit inclined to say that 99K did even a better job with this denim sew off, but I'll leave that up to the audience to decide if they declare a victor or a victory among the sewing machines on the different sew offs. We'll see if there's anyone that says that, yeah, that machine did better on that one. All right, so let's do this now. Let's get this folded back. We're going to start with 2 layers, go up to 4, and then eventually all the way up to 6 layers, just like we did on the 99K. So 6 layers of denim, 6 layers of denim, 6 layers of denim. And hopefully I do a better job of sewing straight this time. Wouldn't that be a cool thing to do? All right. Get that presser foot down. Turn that presser foot pressure up just a little bit. Actually, probably about 2 or 3 turns. And we'll try this featherweight out on these 6 layers of heavy grade denim. All right. All right, here we go. And look at that from the side. If you think that's a light sew off, then you probably need new glasses or contact lenses. That's a serious sew off, especially for our featherweight owners. A lot of featherweight owners cringe at the idea of their featherweight sewing this much denim. But remember that even though the featherweight weighs out at only 11 pounds, it has forged gears and shafts on the inside. It's built incredibly strong and sturdy. It's just a lighter weight outer shell that gives it that lightweight difference to the 99K. All right, let's give it a go. Here we go. I've got the correct stitch length this time. Not too bad. I sewed pretty straight. I let the material shift a little bit though. And as you go through different materials, you'll find that it affects your tension a little bit. It might just be a subtle effect, but you may have to make subtle adjustments on certain materials. If you're going through heavy duty, you'll see that your top stitch looks a little bit underdefined. You'll find sometimes your lock stitch is struggling a little bit. Just remember the simple principles of adjusting your tension. And if you decide to take your tension apart, make sure that you shoot a video of yourself taking it apart, or take pictures of the different stages of taking it apart. I'm guessing that's probably what happened on that 99K is someone got adventurous. They decided to tear that tension apart. And when they put it back together, they put it back together wrong. And in handling those delicate parts, they bent the spring as well. So I always encourage folks to take care of their machines, but sometimes you need someone else to do it so that you can have the confidence that it's been done right. So this is our top stitch. We're going to look at that first. Really, really good looking top stitch. Again, we could add a walking foot. We could add a roller foot to give it even more definition. I'm going to turn it like this. I think we'll be able to see it a little bit better. All right, let me bring this light in a little bit closer. Hopefully that helps. We'll take a look at these stitches that the featherweight just did through 6 layers. Nice stitches, really, really nice stitches by this featherweight, and we shouldn't be surprised. The people that are in the featherweight groups will say that it does a perfect stitch. There's really no such thing. There's no such thing as a perfect stitch. You can always improve on the stitch in some way. Look at it like this as well. Good looking stitch, really a page 34 stitch from this featherweight on these 6 layers of denim. And again, if you've never tried 6 layers of denim, give it a go. Give it a go and see how your machine does. And if you want to shoot a little video, I'll put it up on Facebook. Yes, there's something called Facebook. For you devout YouTubers that don't do Facebook, there is something called Facebook. And I always say it, set up a blind account where you've got the privacy that you want, but you can see the cool posts that I put on Facebook only. So really a lovely, lovely top stitch, I think. Quite nice. And if we were to use a denim needle, use a special denim needle, we'd get even a better product as far as that stitch quality. Yeah, nice. I'm still a little partial to the 99K, but that's just my opinion. But look at what we went through again. That's a lot of denim, folks. That's a lot of denim. Gorgeous stitching. Let's turn it around and look at that lock stitch now. Let me turn it over like this so we can see that lock stitch maybe a little bit more clearly. Very nice. Very, very nice stitch definition, the spacing, the formation, the integrity of the stitch. The Featherweight's done a very, very good job with its little 0.4 amp motor, its little 0.4 amp engine in laying down some gorgeous stitching. No skip stitches, no loopiness, just absolutely page 34 plus stitching all the way across for this little Featherweight. This again is the lock stitch that we're looking at. And remember, the lock stitch is more difficult for a sewing machine to complete because the lock stitch requires that needle sweep all the way down through that material and then pull that thread back up again. So it's always going to challenge that machine a little bit more. When you can get a lock stitch like this, that little group you can see right there, you've got a machine that's sewing at the top of its game. This Centennial Featherweight did an excellent job with these 6 layers of denim. Excellent job. All right, let's go back to the other machine now. We'll leave our little Featherweight behind and say, good job, little Featherweight. Nice job. 6 layers of denim. We went through that cotton and quilt batting. Now let's see what our next challenge is going to be for this Centennial 99K that's being offered for sale. Let's see what our next challenge is for this Centennial 99K. Yeah, that's a good angle. I like that. You can see the sewing bed. You can see me cranking her off as well. Good deal. And I'm just going to, I'll slip a couple of measurements in real quick. Slip in a couple measurements for you real quick, if you're curious. So we talk about the overall length of the machine. We can use a 99K without the extension bed. But if we have the extension bed, why wouldn't we use it, right? I'm not using it now because I can get closer with the camera is why I don't have it on. But if I put that extension bed on, I'll go back a little bit further. We put that extension bed on this 99K that is aspiring to mimic the Featherweight sewing machine. And we measure the overall workspace, the overall bed. From the end of this extension bed to the end of the machine, you're looking at 25 and a half inches. 25 and a half inches. Now I'm going to have somebody write these down so I don't have to remember them all. I guess I could write them down, couldn't I? Let me do that real quick. So the 99K overall length, 25 and a half inches. That's huge. That's why I'm calling this 99K. That's a Centennial model and has this special Centennial package that included this extension bed like a Featherweight and also that beautiful case that I showed you earlier in the live stream. This machine is just off the charts when it comes to workspace. Now let's check from front to back. We're looking at about 8.25 inches. We'll just call that the depth or the width, maybe. Put down width. I'm making up my own words now. We're putting down width. What did I say? I totally lost track now. 8.25, I think. From needle to pillar. Let's do needle to pillar now and measure that harp space. Needle to pillar is going to be right around 6.5 inches. So needle to pillar is 6.5 inches. I've already measured the width over here. Now we'll measure the height from the bed up to the bottom of the arm is going to be right around 5.25 inches. So I'm going to say the height is going to be 5.25. I want to draw my little line. Is there anything else I want to measure? Needle to pillar, height, depth, overall length. I think that's pretty good. Now we'll put the featherweight on this side, and we'll do the same thing. We're going to measure the overall length, the width, the needle to pillar, and the height. So we can get an idea of the workspace difference between these two machines that we're presenting today on the channel. All right, see if I can angle that down a little bit. I only have so much space on this side because of the 99K, so I'm doing the best I can. There we go. Okay, so what are our measurements again? Overall length. Overall length we're going to measure first from the end of the bed to the other end is very close to 15 inches with the bed down, right around 15 inches. So I'm going to write that down on here, 15. Overall width as far as workspace. It's going to be right around 6.75 inches. 6.75 inches. Needle to pillar, really, really essential when you're rotating thicker quilts or anything else that's bulky. Needle to pillar is going to be right around 5, a little bit short of 5.5. Trying to see here. It's going to be right around 5.25. 5.25 from needle to pillar. Finally, the height clearance in the harp space from the bed up to the bottom of the arm is going to be right around 4.25, a little bit more than 4.25. 4.25. All right, so let me show you these differences. And it's good to know, isn't it? It's good to know when you're looking at machines comparatively, because right now we're going with the featherweight versus this 99K Centennial model. Both of them are Centennial models. So as we're looking at the featherweight, we're looking at an overall bed length of approximately 15 inches. And that's measuring from here all the way to here. One end to the other, 15 inches. The overall length on this Centennial 99K with this extension bed is 25.5 inches. 10.5 inches of workspace overall length more than the featherweight. 10.5 inches more because of this extension bed. So 25.5 versus 15. Overall width, and again, width I'm measuring from here to the back bed across. On the featherweight, we're looking at 6.75. On the 99K, we're looking at 8.25. So almost 2 inches more space from the front to the back. And that's taking into account because we obviously have it in a base, and that's an extension of the workspace, just like this is. So 8 1/4, 6 3/4 width. Needle to pillar, really, really important when you're trying to rotate thick materials in that harp space. The harp space, again, is from needle to pillar, from front to back, from top down. Just think of it like a little square. That little square is your harp space right here in the middle. So on the featherweight, from needle to pillar, you're looking at right around 5 1/4 inches. 5 1/4 inches from here to here. That's that rotation area for those heavy materials. On the 99K Centennial model, in that harp space from the front to the back, we're looking at right around 6 1/2 inches. The 99K is pretty doggone impressive when it comes to workspace. In every single category so far, it provides more space than what the featherweight can. Now, finally, our last measurement, the height, which is going to be from the bottom of the arm down to the bed, on the featherweight is going to be 4 1/4 inches. 4 1/4 inches. On the 99K, from the bottom of the arm to the bed is going to be 5 1/4 inches. So about an inch more. So again, just a quick capstone, if you will. We're looking at the 99K, 25 1/2 inches long. That's why I'm calling it kind of a long bed hand crank with that extension bed on the end of it. 25 1/2 inches long. The width in the harp is 8 1/4. Needle to pillar 6 1/2. Height 5 1/4. Featherweight Centennial model. The overall length is 15 inches, 10 inches shorter. 10 1/2 inches shorter than the 99K. Overall width 6 3/4 compared to 8 1/4 on the 99K. Needle to pillar is going to be 5 1/4 on the featherweight, 6 1/2 on the 99K. And the height in the harp space is 4 1/4 on the featherweight, and it's 5 1/4 on the 99K. So I'm not trying to beat up the featherweight, really, quite honestly, but I'm just trying to highlight that if you're looking for a machine that has portability, it has the ability to go off the grid, does not need electricity, and you're also looking for something that's going to give you more workspace, from the extension bed all the way across the machine, more height, more needle to pillar distance, more front to back clearance. The 99K hand crank is an excellent machine to consider. And again, this one is available for sale on a layaway plan with a lifetime limited warranty. Pretty crazy. Pretty doggone crazy. All right. Blah, 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 blah. Operators are still waiting. All right. So what we can sew off on now is 100% cotton, but I'm going to fold it so it's 8 layers thick. Parchment paper, we'll do 12 or 14 layers of this. We've got some of this veg tan leather, this vegetable tan leather that we can sew. And this I'll save for the end when I do like a sewing in the circle type thing. So what do you want to see? Do you want to see leather, parchment, or 100% cotton? I'll leave it up to you all to pick. And I'm going to get something to drink real quick. Actually, I'll get something to drink and put on a little bit of Christmas music. It looks like I have a message as well. Oh, I've got a question from Robin. Robin, and I believe Robin Rickard is from Minnesota. That's where my temporary workshop is right now. And Robin asks, let's see here. On the 99K, what is the hole for on the L-shaped guide between the tension? And she's talking about this hole right here. You can't see it. She's talking about this hole right here because this is not part of the threading process. What some people will use this hole for, and it really is the only viable purpose for it, Robin, is when you're winding a bobbin, you have a choice when you're winding a bobbin of either going from, let me set the phone down. When you're winding a bobbin, you have a choice of going from here to here, across the machine, through that little notch right there, and then up through the goalposts, and then eventually up to the bobbin to wind. There are other people that also will use this hole for winding a bobbin. In other words, they will go from here to here, bring the thread from left to right through the hole, and kind of run it underneath the tension discs. So it's a third point of contact as you're coming across here to this right here. But apart from that, it doesn't serve any other real purpose on the machine, the hole. And I've had some people that mistakenly come through the discs and the take-up spring, and they thread it through the hole and then come up to the take-up arm. You don't want to do that, because when you're running the thread this way on this angle, that sharp turn, you're going to be fraying the thread and eventually breaking the thread. But the only purpose that I know for that hole is so you can have an additional contact point when you're winding a bobbin. Because when you're winding a bobbin on a hand crank like this real fast, it can skip up and off of this contact right there. So if you go from here and then thread from left to right to here and come underneath here over to this point, you're going to have a more solid base for winding a bobbin. But apart from that, it really doesn't do anything for the machine. It's not part of the calibration process. It simply responds to the action of the take-up arm up and down. That's it. Yeah, great question, Robin. That's really a good question. Very, very good question. Okay. What else? Let's see here. I think that's it. And I just had a message from Susie telling me that Antonio joined us from Brazil. So that's wonderful too. Yeah, any questions you have, just like Robin did, don't hesitate to send me a text message during the live stream. Or if you're real brave and you want to call me during the live stream, I'll mail you something special, because that's courageous. A lot of people don't want to hear their voice on the live stream. Some do, maybe. But any rate, yeah. So I don't know if there were any opinions expressed. Let's see. I don't see any other opinions expressed as far as the rank order of what we're going to sew off next. So I'll just pick something. And thank you again for Robin's question, and all of you that are might have questions. Don't hesitate to either post them in the live chat, and Susie will alert me to it, or you can always text me directly or call me during the live stream and say, yo, Scotty, what's up? This is my question, type of thing. Yeah, why not? We're a family. It's like when you get to a family member's house, you hopefully can relax, unless you have that really, intense family member that, they want you to take your shoes off at the door and sit on the plastic couch and, don't touch anything. That's never a pleasant family visit, is it? You're like, how much time do we have left before we can leave? But if you've got that family where you can just go there and just be yourself and relax, kick your shoes off if you wanna, and just, enjoy yourself, that's why we want it to be here. We want you to be able to relax and enjoy yourself. Relax and enjoy yourself, right? Why not? And it looks like Teresa out of Thorpe, Wisconsin, one of the leadership team members, wants to see leather and then parchment. So let's do leather and parchment. Bring this a little bit closer, and we'll do leather first. We'll do this veg tan leather. And again, I don't know why I cut this so wide. Why did I cut it so wide? I don't have the ability to lay down a zigzag unless I put an auto zigzagger on this 99K, which is another good point as well. On either one of these machines, you can look on Etsy or eBay, or you can look on Pinterest or wherever you want to look, and you can find an auto zigzagger that you put and mount on your presser foot bar, and it will allow your 99K Centennial model or your Featherweight to lay down zigzagging and a number of decorative ornamental stitches as well. So if you've never thought about adding an auto zigzagger to your lineup of your, all you need is a straight lock stitch sewing machine to fit that Singer attachment on there. It even works on some of the Kenmores. Go ahead and pick one of those up. It really broadens your horizons in what your straight stitch only sewing machine can do. Really is quite phenomenal. Yeah, I can always do my sew off and then cut off the extra and use it on another live stream, right? I can do that. All right, let's get that down there. You can see it from the edge. It's probably about 4 or 5 ounces of leather. And we'll see how this 99K does. Hand cranked. Yay. I'm getting my exercise today. I just need to go for a walk and I'll be all set. All right, let's give this a go first. And then we'll go down to the Featherweight and try the same thing after we look at the stitching. All right. Okay, here we go. Oh, that's a hoot. Oh, I thought I had that on. I thought I had the bobbin winder engaged and I was cranking against that the whole time. Oh, man. Oh, that's fun. Okay, here we go. And again, just give it a little light hold initially when you launch, and then I'll move my hand out of the way. All right. I looked away for a second. I don't know why. And I started to sew crooked. It's like, oh, I got to sew straight. I got to sew straight. What the heck? And again, remember the setup on this 99K, you're putting the flat side of the needle to the right, which is towards the pillar, and you're threading this machine from left to right. On the Featherweight, it's the opposite. You're putting the flat side of the needle to the left on the Featherweight, not the right like this one, and then you're threading from right to left on the Featherweight. So just remember that setup. If you got both of these machines, you have to switch your thinking when you go from one to the other. The other thing I'll mention is this is a drop-in bobbin system on this 99K. You just open this little door right here. You can see the drop-in bobbin right there. It's also got a nice little ejector button as well to pop it out. And when you drop this bobbin in, you want to have the thread so it's coming over the top so that when this is operating, this bobbin is going to be turning counterclockwise. Counterclockwise, the Featherweight is the opposite, where when you drop it in, you have that thread coming underneath the bottom, and that bobbin in the Featherweight is going to be turning clockwise. Okay? Important to know that these machines, like I said in the earlier part of the live stream, are polar opposites in every way. They're polar opposites in every way. Okay, let's take a look at this stitching, and then we'll go down to the Featherweight and duplicate the same thing. I could also sew a shorter stitch line on this too, just so that I don't feel like I was a total ding dong and made it so big. We'll do one more stitch line. I'll just crank it off, and we'll sew probably around 10 to 12 stitches per inch. Okay, 10 to 12 stitches per inch, and then we'll look at both of those stitch lines. There we go. So I'm going to give this stitch length screw about 3 turns counterclockwise. There's 1, 2, 3. And now we'll try sewing off on the same veg tan leather. And again, on an oscillating hook system like a 99K or any other machines that have oscillating hook systems, just hold that thread for just a second as you launch. and it'll keep it from bird nesting on the bottom, okay? Just hold it for a moment and then you should be good to go. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have plenty of leather left. Stop right there. And it seems like common sense. I know all of you are very, very smart, but when I get done with that sew off line and I'm pulling that thread to get my material out so I can cut off the thread, make sure you take into account how that needle is threaded. On this machine, with it being threaded from left to right, you'll notice that I'm pulling the material this way. On the featherweight, with it being threaded from right to left, you'll notice I'll be pulling the material more this way. And that's so that you don't flex that needle and maybe put a little bit of a bend in it. That can happen fairly easily with a smaller needle like this. I shouldn't say a smaller needle, it's a mid-sized needle. This is my beloved Schmetz 9014 needle. Look at all the extra space I have on the end with this big bed. I can put my extra material there. I can put my Diet Coke there. I won't put my Diet Coke there. I did. Ah! All right, let's take a look at these stitches. First stitch row, second stitch row. Here we go. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And again, like I said, when you change between a wide field of materials, you might have to make some adjustments. If I were looking at this critically, like I always do, I would look at that stitching and I would say, beautiful stitching, beautiful, beautiful stitching. But if I want to make it even better, which I can always do, I would just back off that upper tension just a little bit so I could get a little bit more pull to define this smaller stitch row here a little bit more clearly. Let's go across and look at these. Boy, the featherweight, I hear the featherweight rattling over there nervously. The featherweight is rattling over there nervously saying, oh my goodness gravy, look at those stitches. How am I going to beat those stitches? How am I going to do that well? Because I already gave you workshop magic, you silly princess. Yeah. Those are gorgeous stitches, though. They really are. And I would put these stitches up against any featherweight in the world. I would put these stitches up against any featherweight in the world. Because featherweight people are like a little cult. They're always bragging about how gorgeous their stitches are, right? We've got the perfect stitches. We've got the best stitches in the world. We've got perfect stitches. Yeah, that's my answer. Take a look at this 99K. These are near perfect stitches, and we could still make them better. We could still make them better. Absolutely gorgeous. Wow. And again, look at the thickness of that. All right, let's turn over and look at the lock stitching now. Take a look at that lock stitching, see what we think of that. Got to get really close on this one, right? Look at that. I'm going to say, wow. Those are amazing. Those are amazing. Holy Jiminy crack corn, and I don't care. I do care. Wow. I wish I had a bell. I'd ring it right now. Yeah, gorgeous, gorgeous stitching. We'll look at those like this as well. Got to rotate the leather a little bit so I don't get that glare off of there. So the featherweight's got a big challenge ahead of it. The featherweight has a big challenge. We've got page 34 plus lock stitching, both with the larger stitch and the smaller stitch. We've got page 34 top stitching, larger stitch, smaller stitch, no problem whatsoever. And I'm surprised no one has issued a challenge yet saying, what about 2 layers? Can we do 2 layers? I don't know. I didn't try it off camera. I don't know if I've only got a size 90/14 needle, and I would prefer to have a size 100 or a size 110 needle, which is a size 16 or a size 18 needle versus size 14 needle. But we'll do the featherweight, and then we'll see if the 99K wants to issue a challenge of 2 layers, and see whether or not the featherweight wants to accept the challenge. Yeah, we'll see. I'll set these down right here. Let's head down to the featherweight, see what we can do on that one. All right. The featherweight's shaking just a little bit. She's shaking just a little bit. She's saying, I don't know. I don't know about this. Oh, yeah, that light's too much. Shut that light off. There we go. Okay, so let's grab that veg tan leather. We'll get that underneath the presser foot on this featherweight. This little featherweight, powered by that 0.4 amp motor. And we'll see how she does against this vegetable tan leather. We'll do 2 stitch lines similar to the 99K. And we'll see if she gets through it. I'm not going to give her any boost. I'm going to keep my hands right here, and hopefully she's able to go through it, and then we'll do that second stitch line right after it. All right, here we go. And like I say, don't underestimate a featherweight. Don't underestimate a featherweight from the workshop. She just went through that with as much ease. And I only had that little button on the foot controller pushed down probably about a millimeter or 2. I wasn't gunning it. And she just cut through it like a hot knife through butter. So I'm impressed. She's a tough little girl. She's a tough little girl indeed. She is a tough girl. All right. Let's do another stitch line and check it out. And then we'll see if we're brave enough or crazy enough probably to try a second stitch line. Or a third stitch line, which would be the 2 thicknesses of veg tan leather. I don't know if we're going to do that or not. All right, so let me shorten up that stitch length now. Hopefully I don't go as crazy as I did the last time. I'll bring it up a little bit right about there, I think. Yeah, I don't want to go crazy. I'm going to stop right there. Last time I went too short. All right, so let's try this again with this Featherweight 221, the Centennial model, and see how she does. All right, here we go. I'll tell you one thing, that's some good-looking stitching. I think we've got a run for the money here between this 99K and this Centennial Featherweight. Again, if you join us a little bit late, these are both machines that belong to Susie in Minnesota. She's not looking to sell this featherweight. This is her girl. But she is looking to sell her 99K Centennial. And so I would strongly recommend, if you're interested, reach out ASAP so you can have a chance of scooping her up. All right, let's go like this and see how this works for our camera. Our camera is saying, I don't know about this. There we go. I'll tell you one thing, folks, that's some good looking stitching. That is definitely, I would say, a page 34 plus, just like the 99K. So both of these machines, the Princess of Singers, this little featherweight that belongs to Susie, a Centennial model, and this Centennial 99K are leather eating machines. They're leather eating machines. They really are. Let's go across and look at all the stitching. Oh, wow. Hello. Hello, gorgeous. Ooh. Ha ha ha! Nice job, little girl. Nice job. Nice job. Wow. Let's go across one more time. Those are some sexy looking stitches. Very sexy looking stitches. Wow. Nice job. This 99K and this featherweight are really, really showing their stuff. They're really strutting, aren't they? Look at the thickness of that again. Probably about 5 ounces, maybe even 6 ounces of leather because it varies in thickness across the grain. It's a little thinner here, a little thicker there. Let's take a look at that lock stitch now that this featherweight just laid down on this veg tan leather. Very, very nice. Very nice. Wow. Oh, ho, ho. Now I'm seeing the 99K shaking a little bit, saying, whoa, wow. I thought she'd give up. Let's pull those back. See how that nap kind of covers it a little bit, doesn't it? But we kind of pull them back and flash those stitches. Yes, this is still a family friendly gathering, but we're flashing things now. One of the moderators, one of the moderators throws me into a timeout. You know why? Because I was flashing things. Ha ha! Beautiful stitches. Kind of bending them back a little bit. So I see on the internet all the time in Facebook groups and other places where people will post that a featherweight can't sew leather. You shouldn't sew leather on a featherweight. Well, I beg to differ. Again, the featherweight has an outer shell of aluminum, which makes it lightweight, but the inside of a featherweight is forged steel. It's built rock solid. And as long as you maintain that machine properly, you can go ahead and sew leather on that machine all day long. It's not going to hurt the machine. We'll go like this as well. Having to pull that back because of that nap on the leather. Well, you get the idea. The featherweight did a bang up job. Featherweight did a spectacular job of page 34 plus stitching on this veg tan leather. I'm going to go back to the 99K now and see whether or not it wants to issue a challenge of 2 layers of this vegetable tan leather. That's a little bit scary. It's a little bit scary. All right, let's see what happens. So do you want to issue a challenge? You do. Okay. All right. All right. Cool. All right. All right. We can do this. We'll try to do this. Let me grab my scissors. Grab these scissors. I'm going to cut this stitch line off and see if we have enough to work with, hopefully. And I don't have my traditional sewing scissors. These are scissors that Susie loaned to me. They're razor sharp, and they literally have a razor right there. And they're self-sharpening. I have no idea what kind they are. Wait, yeah, I do. Kuhn, Kuhn. Susie can share more about these scissors. I don't know about them, but it looks like it's made by a company called Kuhn, Kuhn. Kuhn Raccoon or so. I have no idea. But at any rate, yeah, they're really super sharp. So I'm going to set these to the back with the other sew-offs. We'll see if I can cut this in two so we can do a sew-off challenge. Otherwise, I'll get another piece of leather if I think I'm going to just totally botch this, which I probably will. All right. I'll give it my best try. All right. So I got these two pieces of edge tan. I'm going to put them back to back so we can see the stitch quality more easily. This is what we're about to attempt. That's what we're about to attempt right now on this 99K. I think you can see that sort of. All right. I will do my best to sew straight. I really will. I wish I had a clip, but I don't. I'm going to stop whining and just get it done, right? My friends down in Texas are saying, stop your whining, Scott. Just get it done, man. Just get her done. Get her done. So we're going to try to do these 2 layers of veg tan leather, and then we'll see if the featherweight will accept the challenge. We'll see if that featherweight will accept the challenge. All right. I'm going to get a drink of Diet Coke because I got to work over here. I got to crank this puppy off. You know what I mean? All right, here we go. 99K Centennial model. Really quite amazing. Making it look really, really easy. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. All right, I'm all set up. And realize I don't have the benefit of a foot controller or a knee controller. I can't hold this together. I'm going to have to reach over here, start cranking, and then just steer as best as I can. So we'll see what happens. See what happens. I'm going to get her going a little bit, and then I'll take my hand off the thread. All right, so I'm going to let go now, and we're going to work her over here. Not the straightest stitch line, but I think I did it. I think I got through. Well, the 99K, Susie's 99K, the Centennial model, issued a challenge and said, great job, little featherweight, on that single layer of veg tan leather. Let's do 2 layers. And that's what our 99K just did. We're going to look at these stitches and see what y'all think. And then we're going to go down to that featherweight and see if it's willing to accept the challenge. I'm not concerned about hurting that featherweight because that featherweight is forged steel. But that featherweight might just say, no, I don't want to do that. That's too much leather. I don't want to do that. I do not want to do that. But we'll see. You never know. So this is our top stitching, I believe. Yeah, that's our top stitching. Take a look at that first. Ha ha ha! Woo-hoo-hoo! La 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 la. All of you featherweight people out there that are saying he is not going to sew that much leather on that little featherweight. We will protest this channel. We will boycott it. We will assemble downtown Minneapolis, St. Paul, and we will say that guy's out of his mind. That guy's loony boony. Loony boony 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 boony. Ha ha ha! All right, let's look at it like this now. Top stitching. Come on, camera. Work with me, girl. Work with me. Come on. You got it. Yes. No. Yes. Come on. Yeah. Oh, try that. Try that. All right. There you are. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. Now let's try like this. Yeah. Why did you do that? Why did you go out of focus? You don't want me to, you want me to go like this, but you don't want me to go. All right, I'm going to do it real quick. I'm going to see if I can fool it. I'm going to fool it. All right, time to fool the camera. Here we go. Ha! There we go. Oh, no, don't go out of focus. Don't do it. Don't do it. Go closer. Ah. All right. We'll stick this way. The camera is not being very cooperative. So a lot of leather, beautiful top stitch. You've already seen it several times. Let's turn it over and look at the lock stitch. Here's our lock stitch. I'm going to spin it around so we can look at it like this. Lock stitch through 2 layers of veg tan leather, probably the equivalent of around 8 to 10 ounces of leather. 8 to 10 ounces of leather. Absolutely solid page 34 plus stitching. I hear that featherweight knocking its knees over there. Its bobbin is rattling. It's bobbin is rattling. It's a rattling bobbin over on the featherweight right now. The featherweight is saying, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. That 99K is bigger than me, but it doesn't have a motor. Okay, I don't have that excuse. I don't have that excuse. Beautiful stitching by this 99K. 2 layers of veg tan leather, a lot of leather. Absolutely gorgeous stitching. I'm going to throw this to the side. Let's go down by that featherweight. See if that featherweight is courageous enough. Crazy enough. Courageous enough. Crazy enough. Courageous enough to take on this challenge. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. All right. Great job, by the way. Great job. Loving your work. Great job. Yeah. Ha, ha, ha. Woo-hoo-hoo. All right. So what do you think there, little featherweight? What do you think? You did a great job on this. You did fabulous. I mean, it's gorgeous stitching. That's like amazing stitching. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous stitching. Really nice. You want to go for it? You do? Okay. All right. Cool. Let's cut this off. And we'll see if I have enough to do 2 layers so you can show that 99K that he needs to stop being a bully on the playground. Y'all remember the bullies on playgrounds? You know, that could be 30, 40, 50 years ago that you were on a playground in elementary school, maybe even middle school, maybe even in middle school. And you still remember that bully, don't you? It may have been a girl or a guy, you don't know. But yeah, this 99K is really mocking this little featherweight, saying, yeah, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Again, I would prefer to do a sew off like this with a bigger needle, size 100, size 110, more of a harpoon needle, like Sunny would say. Sunny is a dear friend of ours that passed away, but she is still very much a part of us, isn't she? Yes, she is. All right, so I cut that as best as I was able. We've got these 2 sections. We're going to put them back to back, just like the 99K. That's the leather we're going to be trying to go through on this little featherweight. We'll get that into position. And we'll see how this little girl does. This little princess of singers, as I call featherweights. Well, I shouldn't say featherweights. 221s, the 222Ks I call the queen of singers, like many of my friends around the world. All right, let's get that down. Get these scissors put away temporarily. All right. A little bit nervous because I didn't try this yet. Did not try this off camera to know that it's going to be a possible thing. And the featherweight might fail. The featherweight might fail. It's got the same setup. It's got the same Coates & Clark dual duty XP thread. It's got the same Schmetz 9014 needle. It's got the benefit of a motor on the back, a small engine to power it. But it's got a different hook system, doesn't it? It's got that rotary hook system that has to go full circle to complete that sewing stitch process, whereas the 99K has that oscillating hook system, and it only needs to rock back and forth to complete that stitch process. When you're going through this much material, think about the timing of it with that hook coming around. The hook is going to be coming around on the left side of the needle here, trying to grab that thread as that needle is passing through all of this leather in that microsecond. as that needle sweeps down and that hook tries to catch that thread, we might skip some stitches because this hook system is not as friendly to going through this dense leather with a smaller gauge needle. If we put a 110 on here or a 100, we'd have a much better chance of success. But you know what? I don't want to make this featherweight nervous. I don't want to make this featherweight nervous, but I'm speaking the truth so that you know that this is if this little girl can do this, it's even a greater achievement because of the hook system that's on this machine. A rotary is going to be a lot more difficult to work with sew-offs like this and more heavy thread than oscillating. All right, so keep your fingers and toes crossed. Let's see what happens. I honestly don't know what's going to happen. I honestly don't. We might break a needle. Who knows? All right. Make sure that take-up arm is all the way up. All right, I'm going to give it my best. Here we go. Come on, girl. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. You got this. You got this. Wow. Wow. Leaping lizards. Featherweight owners around the world. You better take another dose of medication because when you see this, you're going to wonder. You're going to wonder what's up. Holy mackerel. Leaping lizards. The only thing I would do is I should have bumped up the presser foot pressure even a little bit higher. I should have gone a little bit higher with it because I see a little bit of a stubbiness of that stitch. I'm seeing some stubby stitching, and that just means that the the feed and the presser foot pressure on that 99K might have been a little bit more favorable for a sew off of this degree. All right, let's see what we got. See if I can hold it down here. Maybe I'll get better results than I was trying to lift it way up. So this is our top stitching that we're looking at. Again, this is the leather we just went through. This is our top stitching. Angle that light a little bit more. I don't know what you're seeing. Well, I do know what you're seeing because I'm looking at the laptop. But that is some brag-worthy stitching by this little featherweight. It just went through about 10 ounces of veg tan leather without a hand start. You saw my hands down there by the material. I didn't give it a boost. That little 0.4 amp motor that I did optimize, and that's a big deal on featherweight motors. You got to know how to optimize them. There's 34 service points just on the motor. 34 service points on the motor that I take a featherweight motor through. And that's why not every featherweight could do this. They couldn't. But Susie's featherweight is like on steroids. Look at that. Absolutely gorgeous stitching. Absolutely gorgeous. And there was a risk of skip stitching because of that rotary hook system. She is a proud girl. She is a proud girl, and she was like, no way. I am not going to skip a stitch in front of that big mouth, braggiocious 99K Centennial model. I'm going to nail it. I'm going to nail it. And it's exactly what she did. Look at that top stitch. See if we get in there again. Dealing with a little bit of a shadow thing on this end of the workbench. A little bit of shadow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, it's believable. We just did it. We just did it. It's believable. All right, all of you featherweight owners out there, if you have a brown bag, nearby or an inhaler, take a breath right now. You're turning blue. You're turning blue. You're in shock that a featherweight just did this. Get a brown bag and slow breathe with carbon dioxide. It does wonders. Or grab an inhaler if you have one. What about the lock stitch? That's our tougher stitch. Think about it. That 9014 needle needed to pass through all this leather and pull that thread back up. Did it do it? Or are we going to see a rat nest on the other side? What are we going to see on the other side? What are we going to see? Turn it over, Scott. Doggone it, turn it over. Yeah, yeah. She is little. She's a little petite powerhouse. She's the princess of singers, but she's got grit, like some of you ladies in the audience. She's got grit. She's like, I got this. I got this. I got this. No problem. No problem. I got it. I can do this. I'm little, but I am powerful. I am little, but I am powerful. See how close I can get here. I'm just kind of curious. Let me move that light a little bit closer. Yeah, that's our lock stitch. See if we can look at it like this. I don't know if it'll cooperate or not. Maybe. Oh my gosh. Featherweight owners are hyperventilating right about now, with the exception of Susie and Emma and any of our other leaders that have featherweights, because they already know. They know. Some of the rest of you in the audience know also. You know. You know what's up. Yeah. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Yeah. 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 Oh 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 yeah. Ha ha. Beautiful stitching by this little featherweight. She accepted the challenge from this 99K that's for sale and absolutely nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Gorgeous page 34 plus stitching. I'll throw that to the back. Let's move on to the next sew off. And I've got to check our time as well, see how we're doing on time. Great job. Great job, young lady. Great job. Ha ha. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Yeah. Yeah, she is small, but she is mighty. Don't underestimate your featherweight. If you own a featherweight and you haven't gotten it optimized with workshop magic, you haven't experienced your featherweight yet. You haven't even tasted your featherweight yet. Yeah, let's go back to this 99K and see what's up. What's up? What's up? What do you want to do next? I think Teresa from Thorpe, Wisconsin said, let's do parchment. So we're going to do parchment now. I've got this parchment. This is the parchment that comes with your Amazon packages. If you order from Amazon, this is what comes with your Amazon packages, okay? This is what comes with it. So we're going to try to do 12 layers, I think is what we've done. Maybe we'll even go higher today. I'll see how well I can fold this. See how well I can fold this. Maybe I'll fold it like this, and then I'll get a little bit more out of it. Let me see. That'd be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. We've only done 12 layers before. I'm feeling rather ambitious today. We're going to see if we can do 14 layers. 14 layers of this parchment. Now, if you right away say, hey, it's real thin parchment, what's the big deal? Try grabbing a regular 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and fold it so it's 14 layers thick and try tearing it. Try tearing it. Unless you're incredibly strong or you manipulate it in some way, you're not going to be able to tear 14 layers of parchment or 14 layers of 8.5 by 11 paper like you use on your copier or your printer or something like that. Paper is ridiculously strong and it can resist a needle. It can cause skip stitches. It can break a needle, especially a 9014, even by the great company of Schmetz. But we're going to bump it up to 14. 14 is our new standard now. We'll see if this 99K can do it. If the featherweight says, hey, hold on a second here. I took the leather challenge. But I would rather do the traditional 12 layers. I'm okay with that. But I think she's a tough gal, just like her owner, Susie. She's a tough gal, like all of you gals in the audience are incredibly tough. A would-be mugger or somebody ever confronts you, God help them. God help them. You're tough ladies. But I don't know. She might say 14 is too much, but we're going to try it. 14 layers of this parchment. See if this 99K can get through it first. And then we'll see if the featherweight wants to do 12 or 14, okay? All right, let's give it a go. And I did not test this off camera. I probably should have. Probably should have. But I didn't. All right, 14 layers. 14 layers of Amazon packing parchment. That's fun to say. All of you in the audience, I can't hear you, but say packing parchment. See what happens. It's kind of cool. Packing parchment, packing parchment. Say it really fast, and then you'll probably spit on the person sitting next to you if you're sitting with more than one person in that room. Packing parchment. Yeah, packing parchment. Why not? All right, I got to drink just a little bit of soda and catch my breath here real quick, y'all. Create a little bit of suspense. A little bit of suspense as far as this next sew off. This is going to be tougher than the leather. Paper is tougher than leather, in my opinion. It really is. Paper will push in a way back that you've never ever seen before. Anyone, I'm curious, in the live stream, has anyone sewn with paper before? Whether it's parchment paper like this, or whether it's that vinyl paper that they sell at the Dollar Tree? Just curious. Paper is one of those things a lot of people never ever try with their sewing machine. They never try it. And it really is a shame. It's really a heck of a shame. Because it really gives you a new appreciation for how strong and how magnificent your sewing machine is. Yeah, give it a try. Give it a try. All right, I'm almost ready to jump into this. Almost ready. Catching my breath, catching my breath. All right. I think I'm ready to do it now. I think I'm finally ready. Oh, Jenny is doing some sort of paper sewing. Well done, Jenny. And Jenny, if you don't know it, Jenny is our ambassador to needles. Our ambassadors to needles. So I'm going to scroll up real quick. I don't know if I said hello to everybody. I'm way, way behind here. All right. Who do we have? Well, I'm really behind the game here. I'll say hello to Susie, who is literally upstairs from the temporary workshop. So I'll say howdy to Susie. Also going to say hello to Jenny, Jenny Folsom, who is from the great state of, well, I won't say. I'm going to protect her privacy. I'll just say that she's from somewhere in the U.S. But Jenny Folsom is also our ambassador to needles. So if you're in the live stream, you have any question about needles, bounce them off of Jenny or one of the other leaders. Jenny first. And if she doesn't know, she'll find out for you. Also, good morning, good afternoon, almost good afternoon to, let's see who else we have. Is that Mamie? I think that's Mamie, Mamie. And I haven't seen Mamie before, but I bet you the leaders have. So good morning, almost good afternoon, or maybe it is, maybe you're from somewhere where it is afternoon. Hello to Mamie. Great to have Mamie here. And I can't see that little picture, but it looks like you might have a crown on. That's really cool. Very, very cool. All right, who else do we have? Let's see here. Oh, hello to Alex and his lovely wife out in the great state of California. They are working on preemie clothes right now and a preemie clothing launch, which I hope is going fabulous. I hope they're selling millions and millions of dollars of clothing for that specialized product line. And Alex, I'm looking for you and your lovely wife to pop up on Shark Tank. Let us know if that happens. Let us know when that happens, and we'll be there rooting for you. And we'll be shaking our finger at Mr. Wonderful and all those other people if they're not nice to you folks. Yeah, we will. We're not afraid to shake fingers. We'll do it. Who else do we have? Hello to Tim as well. Tim is one of our new leadership team members and co-moderates with his lovely wife, Teresa. We had a chance, and again, if you don't do Facebook, you don't know this, but we had a chance to meet Teresa and Tim in Thorpe, Wisconsin at the Torpedo, and they were so kind to buy Susie and I breakfast, brunch, whatever it is. What a neat place. If you've never visited the Torpedo before in Thorpe, Wisconsin, doggone it, where have you been? It's a fabulous restaurant, and you got to check it out. They got wonderful food there, wonderful service. I gave it a great review afterwards. Great review. Also, hello to Teresa, Tim's lovely wife. Great to have Teresa here as well. Who else do we have in the live chat? Also, welcome to our friend Antonio from Brazil. Great to have Antonio here. And wonderful that you're willing to converse with us in English. Otherwise, if we get folks from Brazil and other parts of the world, we are more than happy to translate and use Google Translate to make you feel more comfortable in interacting and sharing and all that good stuff. Yeah, we want you to feel comfortable and a part of the family. Who else do we have? Still scrolling. I'm scrolling. Still scrolling. Oh, also hello to Robin. Great to have Robin here. And I believe that's our dear Robin from the Twin Cities area of Minnesota. Great to have Robin here. And I still remember Robin's dog. She sent me pictures of herself wearing Susie's hat, and then also put the hat on her puppy. And her puppy's name is Levi. Levi, what a cool name, right? So great to have Robin here, and maybe Levi is watching with her. You never know. Also, hello to Tony Simeon, I believe it is. And Tony is sharing that she's got a Swedish beauty. And I'll eventually be in a position to have access back to my Swedish beauties again, and then I'll have a chance to present those great machines again. I love my Swedish beauties. Y'all know that. Who else do we have? Still scrolling. I'm still scrolling. Still scrolling. Y'all are talky today. I love it. I love when the family interacts with each other, don't you? I love when y'all come out and we got a new person. I think it's new. Might be new. Leanne Lively. What a beautiful name that is. I'm going to say it again just because it's fun to say. Leanne Lively. I hope I'm saying that right. Lively? Lively? Anyway, welcome to Leanne. Great to have Leanne here. I don't know where Leanne is from, but I'm guessing the leaders probably asked. So if you want to share, that's awesome. And it looks like Leanne has multiple featherweights. And I hope I didn't put her into a hypertension take an inhaler, breathe in a bag when I just went through what I went through with that featherweight of Susie's. I think Leanne is probably a tough gal, just like the rest of our cow country gals. And she was like, hey, no problem. We got this. We got this. Yeah, we do. All right. Who else? I'm still scrolling, still scrolling, still scrolling. Somebody's calling me from Florida. I've got a Florida call. Hold on. Hey, this is Scott. How are you today? I'm doing well. I'm actually in the middle of a live stream right now. Did you have a question for me or? Oh, you know what? Say that again. Do you mind if can I have your permission to put you on speaker? Is that okay? All right. And what is your first name?
Lynn, Lynn.
Okay, Lynn. Go ahead and ask your question again, would you, Lynn?
Yeah, Scott, I'd like to know how can I go about finding out the machines that you have available for sale? Both my husband and I dearly love watching your videos and information.
Oh, cool.
I do leather also.
You do leather. Okay, wonderful. Our live stream that we're doing today, we just went through some veg tan leather, about 10 ounces of it with a featherweight and a 99K hand crank. But as far as the machines I have available, I'm in kind of a transition right now.
Yes, sir, I understand.
Yeah, I'm actually temporarily in the Twin Cities area. I closed my workshop in Oconto, and I'm looking to relocate south, looking at Kentucky, that neck of the woods. So I'll be closer to you.
Down to Florida, we like
you. I love Florida. I've got a number of friends in Florida. I've got friends in Naples, Kissimmee, in that area, but the humidity is just a little bit tough on me.
It is tough. It is very tough. Kentucky's very nice, affordable. So
yeah,
wherever you'll find a great home.
Yeah, but as far as machines for sale and available, I've got them all in storage right now, and I'm targeting the customer machines that we're waiting. But once I get relocated, it might be a number of months down the line. Just stay in contact with us if you would, and I would love to get you all a workshop magic machine that you can use down in the beautiful state of Florida.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Yeah, pleasure. God bless you. Take care.
You too. God bless you.
Well, I'm telling you, folks, I did not plan that call. I thought it was just a question from somebody down in Florida. But what a sweet lady she is. You heard her, and she and her husband are loving what we're doing on the Cow Country channel. They're looking for some machines. And I would love to overpromise and underdeliver, but that's not the way I work. So I just had to be honest and tell her all of the machines right now are in storage that are in my personal collection. They're sitting in that little storage. I shouldn't say little storage space. It's quite large. Susie had a chance to peek at that. Emma had a chance, I believe, to peek at it as well. And they can testify to the fact that it is a big storage unit housing about 200 sewing machines that are waiting for restoration and to find a new home. Very much like this 99K that we're looking at today that belongs to Susie, and she's willing to downsize a little bit and say, I want this to go to a new home where someone can really enjoy it. I've got 200 machines waiting in storage right now back in Wisconsin that are looking for that final workshop down in Kentucky where I can begin to pull them out for customers and prepare them and ship them all around the world. So I just ask for your patience and your understanding as that process is unfolding. It might not be until spring. I just want to be honest with you. It might not be till spring as I continue to work through customer machines. And also, I've done a little bit of a partnership thing with Joann's, as most of you know, Joann Fabrics. And the Twin Cities people have found out that I'm in the area now, and there might be some machines coming from Joann's. I did a post on Facebook about that when I visited that local one. I forget the name of the city. Susie knows the name of that city that I was out in, and I met the Husqvarna. I met the Husqvarna representative, and she showed me all her pictures from Sweden and got really excited when she heard that I can service vintage machines, because the techs that they have at that Joann's out there in Minnesota they are not comfortable. She basically said it was over their head, which is an honest thing to say. I really appreciated her honesty. So, just be patient. Lynn down in Florida and others that have contacted me and said, when are you going to be up and running fully again? It may not be till spring. So I'm just asking for your patience. And yeah, any rate, in the meantime, we're going to keep plugging along here. So we've got 14 layers of parchment. And anyone that's ever sewn paper before knows when you get up to 14 layers, it is the thick of thick. It really is. So we're going to see if we can get through it. I did not test this. I've only gone up to 12 layers on parchment paper. We're going to try 2 layers more today on this really cool hand crank that's being offered for sale. And if it's possible that Lynn and her husband, after me mentioning that I was on a live stream and I got her permission for you to hear her lovely voice down in Florida, it's possible that she's listening right now. So I'll just say to Lynn, if you want to consider a hand crank machine, this 99K Centennial machine is a leather eating machine. It's got a huge base. You can see that right here. It's a special package that Singer put out with a Centennial 99Ks. This incredible extension bed that gives you 6 inches more space overall length than the Featherweight. And then you've got the power and the off-grid capabilities of this hand crank. This would be a great, great machine for you to consider for your leather sewing down in Florida as a first machine. And then once I'm up and running, you'll be able to see Swedish beauties and all kinds of machines popping out saying, hey, we want to go to Florida too. We don't mind the humidity. We don't. So 14 layers. I'm going to see if I can get through this. We've already sewn a lot with this incredible Schmetz 9014 needle. Let's see if we can get through this paper. It's going to take a little bit of cranking on my part. Matter of fact, I'm going to change the angle a little bit so you can see me cranking off on this with this 99K Centennial model. And again, this is available for sale, not the paper. Yeah, I'll sell you the paper too. I'm just kidding. Anyway, here we go. Let's see if we can do this. I'm going to do a little bit of a hold on the thread to start. And once I get her going, we'll just crank her off. All right, I'm taking a deep breath. I'm a little bit nervous. Let's see if we can do this. Oh my goodness. That is a little bit of an effort. A little bit of an effort. I got her going now. Got some nice smooth action. I could crank her faster, but I'm just kind of going steady ready, Steady ready. I've never done 14 layers of this before. Never done. Oh my goodness. I think we have a new standard. 12 layers was impressive. Now we're at 14 layers of parchment. Wait until you see these stitches. And this 99K Centennial model could do this to leather also. Just throw a leather needle on there. And anyone that's looking to do some serious leather sewing, this hand crank is off the hook. Holy mackerel. Let me show these stitches. Let me show these to you. "14 layers of parchment. Folks, I don't know what you're saying. I do, but I don't. Let me just say that is gorgeous, gorgeous stitching. I might bump that upper tension down just a hair to put even a little bit more pull on those top stitches, but they are absolutely spot on. Let's look at them like this also. Come on. Camera, you were doing so well. Come on, camera. You got this. Come on. Let me change the angle of the camera. Come a little bit higher up. There we go. We had it for a second. All right, I'm going to see if I can fool the camera again. Hold on. There's our top stitch. Absolutely gorgeous. Ha-ha! Ha-ha-ha! Oh, Jiminy Crickets. I tried to fool the camera real quick and say, look at, you're focusing exactly where you want to focus. Aren't those lovely stitches? Shebang! Ha ha! Ah, she's going to give us a hard time today. Anyway, those are gorgeous, gorgeous top stitches. I'll show you just one last time, and then we will go to that lock stitch. See how this handled 14 layers of parchment paper. Gorgeous stitches, gorgeous, gorgeous. Look at the thickness of those 14 layers. And paper, again, is incredibly tough to get through. This is our lock stitch. You'll be able to tell right away because you'll see that little tuft of paper displaced from that needle sweeping down through that thick layers, 14 layers of parchment paper. Parchment packing paper by Amazon is what this is. Parchment packing paper by Amazon. Folks, those are gorgeous stitches. And I don't know if the Featherweight's going to take the challenge and go to 14 or whether it's going to say, I'm going to stick with 12. That's enough. I am a lady after all, and I don't need to be all sweaty. I don't want to get all sweaty doing 14 layers of parchment paper. Are you out of your mind? I'm a lady. I'm a princess. But I'll tell you one thing. That is the thick of thick. When you're looking at it, I don't know if we're going to be able to see that or not. 14 layers of parchment. There you got it right there. You can see it. Gorgeous stitches, lock stitch as well. I'm going to take a look at Susie's message real quick, but that is a definite success for this 99K. Let me show you what we've already gone through. We've gone through this parchment. We've gone through 2 layers of this veg tan leather, single layer of veg tan leather. Get this lined up here. We've gone through a variety of different cotton sew-offs with quilt batting right there. Oops, I just dropped one. Aha! I'm dropping everything. Jiminy crickets. So we've done parchment, we've done leather, we've done quilt batting, and 2 layers of cotton as well. Angle this down a little bit. There we go. Quilt batting as well. We've done all these. We've done 8 layers of regular cotton, 100% cotton. And then I had done this off camera as well, additional quilt batting and cotton. I had also done this single layer, kind of got them out of order, different stitch lengths. But at any rate, on this one needle that you're looking at in the machine right now, we've done all this sewing already. Everything from 100% cotton with quilt batting, 8 layers of cotton, single layer of veg tan leather, 2 layers of veg tan leather, 14 layers of this Amazon Prime parchment, blah, 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 as well, laying down absolutely gorgeous stitching as well. So this is our sew-off sandwich so far. I'm going to check Susie's message. Then we're going to go down to the Featherweight, see if the Featherweight wants to take the challenge of 14 layers of this parchment paper, Amazon Prime stuff that they use for packing, or whether or not it wants to stick with 12. Okay, let me check this message real quick. All right, message. And it looks like Susie just got a message from Emma, who is at work. She sent a link for half off Christmas sale today for Guggenheim scissors. I put the link in the chat. Yeah. I don't have the Guggenheims down here. They're upstairs in Susie's sewing center. But Guggenheim makes a great product, and I've shown them multiple times on this channel. Susie and others within our group have also won pairs of them. I shipped them off from the old workshop in Oconto. Definitely look at that half off opportunity. They're wonderful, wonderful sewing scissors. So I'm grateful for Emma letting us know about that. I had received an email about that earlier today, but I was busy getting ready for the live stream. So I'm glad that Susie shared it with the group. And again, we don't get any benefit. We don't get any kickbacks from Guggenheim when we know about a good product. We just like to let the family know about it. And if y'all want to pursue it, then pursue it. If you don't want to pursue it, then don't pursue it. But that would be a great thing to throw in your stocking for sure. Guggenheim offers a variety of different scissors. I'm not real knowledgeable about all the different things that they've got, but you can go to their site and find out about it and then decide if you want to make a purchase. It's up to you. So that's awesome. That's great. All right, let me head down to that featherweight. And I'm also going to give us a little bit of since we are talking about Christmas and the holidays, I'll give us a little bit of a boost right now of Christmas music. And once I go to the right window, I still haven't figured this thing out yet. I'm getting closer. All right, let me see what we got. Here we go. There we go. All right, let's head down by our little featherweight. Great job. 14 layers of packing, parchment, Amazon Prime. You set a new standard. Amazing. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. All right, let's head down by our little girl here. So what do you think? Do you want to try 12 or 14? She said she wants to try 14. She said, I can do anything that Big Mouth 99K can do. A little bit of friendly rivalry here. The featherweight is getting a little bit of, what is it called? Street talk? She's doing a little bit of, she's mouthing off to the 99K saying, I'm not afraid of you. Uh-huh. I didn't do 8 layers of the 100% cotton yet. Maybe I did. Maybe I spoke too soon. Oh, that 8 layers was off camera. I didn't do that on camera yet. We still have to do that on camera. Oops. All right, I'll get it right. But I did do 8 layers on the 99K already. All right, let me see if I can do this. Practice my origami folding skills here. Wax on, wax off. And speaking of wax on, wax off, we do have Hollywood people that are in our group as well. Some of you know that. Tom Hanks, you might remember over a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, was in our circle when we did that fundraiser for the History Museum. Because Tom Hanks and his lovely wife Rita actually made a donation. So we do have Hollywood people that follow what we do at Cow Country. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see whether or not we have a Hollywood moment here with this featherweight. We'll see. All right, so 2, 4. That's 4. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. I make that look pretty easy, but that's a little tricky when you're folding this parchment paper like that. But here's 14 layers that the Princess of Singers, this little featherweight that belongs to Susie from Minnesota, that is hosting our temporary workshop. We're going to give this a go with this little featherweight. I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest with you. I don't know what's going to happen because I did not try this off camera. All right, I'm going to get that presser foot down. Just want to make sure that I've got enough bite on the feed dogs to move this material, paper, Amazon Prime packing paper is what it is. 14 layers of it for this little princess. I'm not really nervous. I'm just going, I don't know what's going to happen. I got no idea. I'm going to drink a little bit of Diet Coke while I'm contemplating the fate of this Princess of Singers taking the challenge and giving a little trash talk back to that 99K saying, I'm not afraid of you. Yeah, flex your little hand crank muscles, whatever. I'm going to take the challenge is what she said. We'll see how she does. Yeah. See how she does. Bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-dum. All right, I'm going to stop the music. Ha ha! Enough stalling there, princess. You took the challenge. I don't want to hear any whining or griping or moaning or anything like that. You'll either succeed or you won't. We'll see what happens. All right, let me get that take-up arm all the way up. 14 layers of Amazon Prime parchment packing paper. Yes, this live stream is all about alliteration today. It's all about alliteration. So if you're in the audience, to be a part of the family, it's like a secret handshake. You have to say Amazon Prime packing parchment paper. Prime parchment packing paper. I'm not going to say it any faster or I'll spit all over the machine. I know I will. It could happen. All right. Let's see what happens now with 14 layers of Amazon Prime packing parchment paper. All right. I'm really tired now. I'm not even going to say it anymore. I'll let all of you say it. You younger people can say it more times than I can. All right. Let's see how we do. I'm going to try it without a hand start. We'll see if we can get through this with this Princess of Singers, this little featherweight powered by a 0.4 amp motor. And again, just a reminder, because we're all about sharing and learning together. The featherweight was first introduced at the Chicago World's Fair in 1933-34 with the theme of a century of progress. The 99K was first introduced in 1911 and produced until 1958 with a theme of I'm in my brother's shadow. I'm making that up. But it was in the shadow of the 66 because that's what the 99K was modeled after, was the Class 66. So there you go. Now you know all the facts. It might be on your midterm test, so be ready. Be ready. All right, let's see what happens. A little bit nervous, but we'll get through it. I hope. Maybe not. All right, here we go. Slow down, girl. You don't have to impress everybody. Wow. So any of you out there that own featherweights and you're saying, I need to try that. I order from Amazon all the time, and I've just been recycling or throwing away that parchment paper. Now I need to see if my Princess of Singers or if my 99K can do 14 layers of parchment paper. Not easy at all. Again, notice I'm drawing it to the left because of the way the needle is threaded. Yeah. All right. Where's my clippers? Here they are. She didn't even hesitate. And then I kind of let up on the gas a little bit right in the middle. And it was like, oh man, we're stalling. And then she jumped into it again. Like, I got this. I'm a tough girl. I'm a cow country tough sewing machine girl. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Me. Mo. All right, let's see what we got. Angle the camera up. And this is what our little girl just did, our featherweight 221. Oh my goodness, gravy. Did she not only accept the challenge of 14 layers, she knocked it out of the park. Look at that. Ha! Woo! Wow. That is page 34 plus stitching by this little featherweight, the Princess of Singers, first introduced in 1933-34 at the Chicago World's Fair, the Century of Progress theme. You can find videos online if you want to see what that Chicago World's Fair actually looked like. It's really cool. I've shown them on this channel before. Folks, those are gorgeous, drop dead gorgeous stitches. Let's see if we can look at them like this as well. That light might kind of goof around with us a little bit. Oh my goodness. This is one tough little girl. I'll tell you that right now. That is one tough little girl. through all of that parchment, 14 layers of this Amazon parchment, and laying down a page 34 plus stitch. I mean, you've already seen it. Wow. Let's turn it over and look at that lock stitch. Don't you love the lock stitch, that little tuft of paper going boom, kind of like a bullet going through a target? That's exactly what that 9014 needle does by Schmetz. It's like a bullet going through a target with precision, of course. I don't want the Schmetz people who follow us on Facebook and YouTube to say, would you stop calling our needles bullets? Whoa, they kind of are. They sort of are. They sort of are like bullets. I'm sorry. Sorry. Absolutely gorgeous stitching. Let's see if we can get a glimpse of it this way as well. Try to get that shadow off of there. Unbelievable. Wow. Tell you one thing. This little girl only has a 0.4 amp motor, but I've gone through that motor and optimized it. And she is sewing with the big boys now. Look at that. And not just getting through it, but laying down stitching that's absolutely, absolutely brag-worthy. I don't know how we could make that stitch better. Somebody help me in the audience. How can we make that better? Walking foot, roller foot? That's really a drop dead gorgeous stitch, just like the 99K. I'm going to put that to the side. Absolutely amazing. And now let's see. We've been going back and forth and letting the 99K drive the train. 99K has been in charge. We're going to take away that authority for a little bit. We're going to give it a 200-second timeout. And we're going to say, now we're going to move into those 8 layers of 100% cotton that I thought we already did, which we didn't do. And I did that off camera. And now we're going to see if we can do those 8 layers of cotton with the featherweight going first and then the 99K doing it second. So let's see here. 2, 4. You can actually fold a little bit bigger. That's 4. That's 6. And that's 8. So we've got 8 layers of cotton now. We're going to do 8 layers of cotton, which again is not testing the maximum strength and the capabilities of this featherweight. It's simply saying 8 layers of cotton is a lot of cotton. So we're going to go through 8 layers of cotton now and see how this little princess of singers does on this, taking the lead. And then that 99K Centennial that's for sale has to answer the challenge of the featherweight, right? Why not? Let's get that lined up, take up arm all the way up. Make sure we're ready to launch into this. I'm going to get a little bit of Diet Coke, give you a little bit more Christmas music, and then we'll do these 8 layers of 100% cotton. And I don't know what kind of project you might be doing, but there might be an occasion where you have to do 6 to 8 layers of cotton. So it's good to know your featherweight can handle it if it's running at the top of its game. And the featherweight said she wants Christmas music while she's doing this sew off. So I'm going to leave it on soft in the background. All right, here we go. Here we go. Jiminy crickets. That is amazing. Well done, young lady. Well done. All right, let's add a second challenge now. Let's shorten that stitch up and do another stitch line along this on the 8 layers of 100% cotton. Here we go. I didn't make that as short as I thought. I thought I made that shorter, but that's okay. You get the idea. All right, let's take a look at these stitches. Top stitch. Yep, that's our top stitch. Let me bring this camera up a little bit. I think it makes it a little bit easier for it with the light. 8 layers of cotton, y'all. 8 layers. I'm getting ready to end that music so you can hear me a little bit more easily. All right, bear with me for a second. Got to pause the music. There we go. So 8 layers of cotton by this Featherweight, the Princess of Singers. Beautiful stitching all the way across. We'll see if that camera will focus on those stitches again for us. Thank you very much. There we go. Beautiful job. And the top row, we were doing right around 6 to 7 stitches per inch. I thought I made that other one a little bit shorter. We're probably only around 8 to 10 stitches per inch. I wanted to go shorter than that, but I didn't. But you can see for yourself just how gorgeous that stitching is. Absolutely spot on. The spacing, the formation, the integrity of the stitch is just absolutely gorgeous. 8 layers of cotton, not the toughest sew off ever, but with all the other stitch offs we've done, I don't think this Featherweight has to prove how strong she is anymore. She is a very, very strong girl. Very, very strong girl. See if we're able to see him that way as well. Maybe, maybe not. Lovely, lovely stitching. Beautiful stitching. We're going to turn it over now. Look at that lock stitch. Equally gorgeous looking lock stitch. Beautiful stitching, spacing, formation. With the larger stitches and the smaller stitches, we're getting some really, really good presentation of that stitch there. And we can always make it better, but she's really quite gorgeous. Once the camera decides she's going to focus, focus camera. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Gorgeous lock stitch, page 34 plus, without a doubt. So lock stitch, we'll look at it right about there. Top stitching. That 99K has quite a challenge ahead to duplicate these results. That's an absolutely gorgeous stitch off with these 8 layers of 100% cotton. And again, this Featherweight's already shown her strength in so many ways. If we go to these sew offs we've already done, the 8 layers of cotton, we'll kind of go down to the bed here. 8 layers of cotton. We've got the 2 layers of veg tan leather as well that we've gone through. The 14 layers of Amazon Prime packing parchment. Single layer of veg tan leather. 6 layers of heavy grade denim. And then we did these variety of stitch length sew offs on these 2 layers of cotton and quilt batting. So far, this little Princess of Singers, this Featherweight has already gone through all of this stuff from veg tan leather to packing parchment to heavy grade denim to quilt batting and cotton to 8 layers of cotton, and the list goes on. Really, really quite a courageous young lady, this I almost said Queen of Singers, my apologies, this Princess of Singers has done on this live stream. I'm going to move those to the back, and let's go back over to that 99K now. Well done. Well done. Go over this 99K now, the Centennial model, and we'll see if she is ready, or he, as it may be, to go after these 8 layers of 100% cotton. And I'm going to remove our really cool extension bed just so I can get a little bit closer to this 99K. Get a little bit closer to this beauty. Not too close, though, because I know y'all get a kick out of seeing me crank her off, too. All right, so let me do this. I'm going to get this set up. We'll put on a little bit more Christmas holiday music. I'm going to fold our 8 layers. 2, 4, 6, 8. All right, let's pause this for a moment. And let's give this 99K an opportunity now to shine as this 99K Centennial model tries to duplicate what the Featherweight just did in going through these 8 layers of 100% cotton. Again, when I do these live streams, it's not to show the maximum capabilities and strength of the machine, but to whet your appetite and to get you to start thinking about a 99K hand crank, or possibly a Featherweight Centennial model like Susie's, in adding that to your collection. Once you get a little glimpse of what the greatness looks like for these machines, once they've gone through the workshop magic, kind of like Lynn was saying down in Florida, she and her husband have been watching this channel and just really getting their appetite wet for getting a machine from the workshop, because they realize there's a big difference between what a 99K Centennial can do from the workshop or a Featherweight from the workshop compared to those others that you get off of eBay or Etsy or Pinterest that have not gotten that dose of the workshop magic. You know what I mean? There's a big difference. There's a big difference. All right, let's get this done. I'll do it to silence so you can again listen to this hand crank doing its magic on these 8 layers of 100% cotton. And I'm just going to hold that thread initially. Again, with an oscillating hook system, it really pulls that thread hard at the initial launch. So if you hold onto those tails for just a second, you're going to prevent that bird nesting on the bottom, okay? Give it just for a second, and then we'll launch into this, okay? One last little stitch on the end there. All right, let me go ahead and shorten that stitch now. And then we'll do another stitch row so that we can see how these machines are competing in this battle, this stitch off battle, going through a wide variety of different stitch off materials. Again, we've done everything from 2 layers of veg tan leather. We've done, well, you've seen it. You've seen it. We've really run these machines through the paces, and pitted them against each other as well, so that we could see what they're capable of doing. All right, my stitch length is long. Now we're going to go ahead and give it 3 turns. 1, 2, 3. And again, with this type of stitch length regulator, it's a stitch screw. You're spitballing a little bit each time you change it. I've had people that have taken a permanent marker and put a little marker on there, so they've got some chance of knowing what that stitch length is going to be. Otherwise, you're just kind of rolling with it. You know what I mean? You're giving it 3 turns and we'll see what we get. We'll see what we get. All right. I'm going to give it a little hold. We'll launch into this. Here we go. Oh, stay straight, Scott. Stay straight. That featherweight over there was going, la, 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 la. So I look over to the right for a second. It's like, oh, I'm going off course. I'm going off course. Mayday, mayday. Tell you, she's a sweet little girl, but she's also got a sassy side too. Yeah, she does. She's trying to throw me off course. Yeah, it's not going to work. All right. Let's take a look at these stitches that this 99K just laid down on this 100% cotton, 8 layers of it. You can see on this one, I didn't hold on long enough. We got a little bit of a thread goopy doopy there. Don't ask me to spell goopy doopy. I know I won't be able to do it. All right, let's take a look at these stitches, see what we think. Hand crank Centennial model going against a featherweight. Let's see how she did. There we go. I think I got rid of that shadow a little bit there. Well, I did a horrible job. I didn't shorten that stitch much at all, just a little bit. Folks, that is gorgeous stitching all the way across. Really is a testimony to workshop magic and what is capable. I'm almost inspired to sew that a 3rd time and turn it 3 more times to make that stitch quite a bit shorter. I feel like we kind of missed the opportunity there a little bit. Beautiful stitching, beautiful, beautiful stitching. We'll look at it like this as well. Gorgeous, gorgeous stitching. Very, very nice. Turn it over, look at that lock stitch, and look at, again, 8 layers of cotton. It's not the greatest challenge ever, but it's really quite impressive. See if we can look at it like that first. That's our lock stitch. Also going to look at it like this. It's our lock stitching on the back of here. Very, very nice. Yeah, here you can see on the lock stitching, it's just a little bit, you can see a little bit clearer the stitch length difference between those 2 rows. It's more evident on the lock stitch than it is on the top stitch. Beautiful, beautiful stitching. And again, 8 layers of cotton. I'm inspired to sew it just one last time, just to say that I did it. This time we'll shorten it even more. Wait a second, I had that upside down. There we go. Now I have it right side up. When the stitch quality is so good on the machine, when the top stitch looks like the lock stitch and the lock stitch looks like the top stitch, if you're not paying attention, you can actually reinsert the material the wrong way, which is what I started to do. So let's give it 3 more turns now so we can make it even more evident. I think I did them kind of 3 wimpy turns. 1, 2, 3. Now we'll see how far we can get that stitch length down. Hold that for just a second. We'll launch. Okay, I hear you in the audience saying, Scott, is that as fast as you can go? Is that as fast as you can go? Really? Have you not been doing your push-ups and calisthenics? Okay, all right. There we go. Got a little speed out of that puppy. A little bit of speed. I did a better job of adjusting that stitch length screw just a little bit more dramatically this time, so we can really see that range a little bit more. We're probably closer 12 to 15 stitches per inch this time. So I've done a better job this time of contrasting it. That's really what you're looking to do, right? Let me just double check. Yeah, that's our top stitch. This is our top stitch, and then we'll look at our lock stitch secondly. Top stitch. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Now we're cooking with butter or margarine, depending on your choice. Yeah, a little bit more of a contrast there, I think. Yeah, it's a more of a contrast. Very beautiful stitching, very beautiful stitching. Turn it over, look at that lock stitch, like this first. Very, very nice stitching. And it's kind of fun to see those 3 stitch rows so we can see the difference in that stitch length contrasted very nicely on this this cotton, these 8 layers of cotton. I'll show you a vertical view of it as well. And again, I'm really impressed by Schmetz needles. You all know that. I'm a big Schmetz fan. I love their needles. And even after all the sewing we've done on this needle, it's still persevering. It's still persevering. So a beautiful lock stitch. Wait for the camera, wait for the camera. There it is. Beautiful lock stitch, 8 layers of cotton. Beautiful top stitch. And I haven't declared a winner yet. Both of these machines are going neck and neck, whether it's veg tan leather, whether it's 14 layers of parchment, you know, whether it's cotton with quilt batting, or, I mean, whatever sew off we've done, they are just running neck and neck, in my opinion. They're doing a spectacular job. So I will let the audience declare if they feel there is a winner. Oh, I forgot our denim down here. Our 6 layers of denim too. 6 layers of denim to the mix of all that stuff that we've done on this live stream. So if you feel there's a declarative winner between the Featherweight and the 99K, then you can cast your vote in the live chat if you'd like. I'm going to call it a draw so far. I'm going to call it a draw. I think they both have done a spectacular job of demonstrating greatness, courage, doing some sew-offs that we've never, ever done before on this channel. We've never done 14 layers of Amazon Prime parchment paper. Wait, Amazon Prime parchment packing paper. That's what I meant to say. And both of these machines have stepped up to it. No fear at all. So a little bit more Christmas music. I'm going to rest my voice for a second. Whether or not you realize that it's a little bit of a challenge with the gift of gab, even talking continuously or nearly continuously through a 3-hour and 28-minute live stream. And it's probably just as challenging for you to listen to me for that long too. All right, a little bit of music to give me a break, give you a break too. All right, I think we're going to sew in a circle now. I'm going to get our featherweight ready also. And you know that I have to sew in a circle to the 1812 overture, so I have to find that online now. Let me cancel out this Christmas music. That's what I meant to say. See if I can find the 1812 overture so we can wrap up this live stream with our final sew off, sewing in a circle. And again, I'm going to have a little bit of a challenge because I'm going to have to turn the hand crank while I'm moving this leather at the same time. And if you see me sew my finger, just ignore it. Take the kids out of the room get them some counseling. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. Maybe. Maybe, 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 maybe. All right. 1812 Overture Instrumental. All right, let's give this a go. We're probably going to get a commercial first. Let's see here. Let's see if we can do this. Can we do it? Can we do it? Can we do it? All right, here we go. 1812 Overture, starting on this 99K Centennial model hand crank that is available for sale. Reach out to me after the live stream. We're going to do our final sew off now. Here we go. Almost. I'm almost ready. I'm so ready. Almost ready. Oh boy. I'm going to take my ring off just because we're going to get really intense here. I'm going to take my watch off. All right, we're going all ways here. We're going rebel now. Rebel time. Oh, yeah, we're not going the same way anymore. Nope, we're going everywhere. Turn, 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 turn. Ha-ha. Turn again. Come on, turn, turn, turn. You got it, you got it, you got it, you got it. My hand is vibrating. Oh my goodness gravy. That's a little fun there. All right, let's check this out. And then we're going to get onto the featherweight and do the same thing. You can imagine. Yeah. Let's check this out. So that's how you empty a bobbin. Ha ha! That's how you empty a bobbin right there. I don't think I emptied the bobbin. Did I empty it? Oh, I still have thread left. Class 66 bobbins hold a lot of thread. But look at these stitch quality as I'm ratcheting this leather around. I'm ratcheting it around to make these turns. And yet this machine maintains really quite spectacular stitch quality. Beautiful, beautiful stitch quality, spacing, formation. This is a work of art. And this is something you could do with your kids or your grandkids or your neighbor's kids or some strange kids that are just walking through your neighborhood. You're set up in the front yard with your sewing machine and you say to the kids, "Hey, do you like power tools?" And they're like, "Yeah, but my dad won't let me use them." And you say, "Well, sit down with me and let me show you what it's like to sew." And they create something like this, sewing in a circle, and you put it up and you display it proudly, and they become friends with your family. And they see it up on the wall and they're like, "Wow, I created that. I did that. I did that. I did that." See, there's my little tough right there. Aha. But isn't that what sewing is all about? Is inspiring young people to give it a try, inspiring young people to say, "Yeah, I can do that. I can do that. And I did that. That's my creation up on that wall." Yeah, let's see what the featherweight does with the same challenge. So we're going to let this 99K relax now after doing all of this on the live stream. Really, oh, I lost the paper there. Ah, the parchment paper from Amazon. I should get free shipping just for showing that. But yeah, whatever. Okay, let's go down by the featherweight now and see if she's ready to do the same thing. Maybe, maybe not. She's already set up for it. All right. We're going to give this another play. Ready? Here we go. Almost ready to go. Oh, there we go. Okay. I think I hit the right button. Maybe. I hope you can hear the music. I think you can hear the music. Maybe. All right. Now it's the featherweight's turn. And this will be a little bit easier because I don't have to crank it at the same time. All right, now the fun begins. I'm going to wait for the music to ramp up a little bit because this machine is faster than I can hand crank, and I'm going to run out of space. So give me a second. I'm going to grab some Diet Coke real quick. All right, Go to the bathroom, grab yourself a drink. I'll be right back. Hold on. All right, little girl, you ready? Let's do our dance. Hold on 1 second. I went off course. Ah! That extra speed gets you. Oh man, that extra speed is like, oh geez, I'm pushing down too far. But I'm getting excited with the music, and I'm going, okay, let's go faster, let's go faster. And this is smaller than my usual leather square, so I'm like watching my fingers because yeah, that would be something to see me sew my finger, wouldn't it? Let's take a look at this stitching as I catch my breath from that ordeal. I prefer the hand crank. I'm able to manage things a little bit better. But what a spectacular wrap up to this live stream as this little featherweight does its dance. I'm looking for the camera to focus. There she goes. And again, it doesn't have to be ready for the Smithsonian. It's just something that we've done for fun. When we lose sight of having fun in the sewing process, I think we've lost the sewing process. Sewing is supposed to be enjoyable. As many of you say, including Susie, you call it your happy spot. It's your happy place. When I get a chance to do something goofy like this, it's not to empty a bobbin. It's just to show you that I can be silly for a moment in time to some fun, majestic music and create something that if you're doing this for the first time as a little kid or a young person, or maybe an older person that's never tried sewing, and you create something like this, you look at that and you say, I did that. And you put it up on the wall or you frame it or you do something fun with it and you create something that no one else has done. And you also celebrate the greatness of the thread that I sewed over. Oops. You celebrate the greatness of, there's another one. Hold on, I'll get it. You celebrate the greatness of something that you've created and had fun doing it. It doesn't have to be frameable, fantastic, blah, blah, blah. It's just something you did and you had fun doing it. So hopefully that's a thing that attracts more than 3 million people to this channel as of today. I think it's 3,100,000 or something or whatever. But we've got one of the biggest followings on the internet for vintage sewing machines. And I think it's because we do fun stuff like this and we don't feel like we have to impress anybody. We just want to have fun doing it. And we do sew offs like this on the live stream so you can see this featherweight's amazing. It's not just a lighty tighty little machine. It's able to do some crazy heavy duty sew offs and we can have fun doing it. Same thing with this 99K hand crank Centennial model. We can have fun doing sew offs like this and celebrate the greatness of a machine. That's what it's about, isn't it? Yeah. So I hope you enjoyed this battle, as I called it, this battle, this standoff, this, showdown with this 99K Centennial model that Susie's offering for sale that has that really, really cool extension bed that makes it much, much longer, much, much longer than a featherweight. No offense. And you've had a chance to get excited and whet your appetite for what a fully optimized 99K hand crank can do. If you're looking for leather sewing, you got it. If you're looking for sewing, whatever kind of sewing you're looking to do, this 99K can get her done. Same thing. It's hopefully opened your vision to the capabilities and the greatness of a little featherweight that a lot of people underestimate all the time. So, y'all take care. We'll see you soon. What is today? Tuesday? Yeah, maybe we'll see you on Saturday and do something fun there too. Yeah, take care. See ya. And thank you. I haven't said it the last couple of times. Shame on me. Thank you so much to the leadership team for taking such great care of the family. Also, welcome to our new friends, our new family members from as far away as Brazil and from all over the country, the great United States. God bless you. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. And we'll see you soon at another live stream, right? All right. Take care. Yeah, I think a little bit more Christmas music. If I can find it. There it is. God bless. See ya.